Oh man, well I'm glad you could be on this.
Dude,
This is
I appreciate
fun.
you, man.
Yeah,
This is sweet,
yeah. You get to watch any of the game at all?
Yeah, so
How we doing here? How the Ravens doing?
it was
I'll cheer for them until Doc gets on the field,
Sure.
and then it's like, all right, I got to cheer for Doc.
4th and something, like short. And so they did the whole, like, trying to get them off, like, give them the jump.
Yeah,
They make it to the 2-minute warning. They're on their own.
yeah.
Make sure this is. Oh, sorry, I didn't know if it was
you
going
good?
here.
Oh, we're already gone. I like
Sure.
to just get it started, and then
Sure.
if we
okay.
want to edit it out, like we can. But just
Sure.
I want it to be a conversation. I don't want it to be anything else.
No, so they're, like, backed up on their own, like, 16 or something like that.
Yeah.
Just trying to get them go off sides.
Yeah, jump off sides.
2-minute warning go. They put Mark Andrews back there. Hopefully he gets some fancy points for this.
He's not on my team. I dropped him, dude.
Oh,
He's
you
been
dropped him?
He's been horrible.
I mean,
this year.
it's one thing to bench him, but you dropped
He's
him?
averaged 4 points a game. That is so bad.
I mean, Isaiah Likely's been a good.
I haven't gotten Isaiah either.
It's going to be interesting what they do next year, whether they resign,
Well,
renew
Andrews is still
contract, sign,
really
but-
good.
Yeah.
He's just
Well, still recovering from the hip drop. But anyways, that was they direct pitch it to him,
that's the stupidest rule
and then
ever,
they,
by the way.
just under center to him. They go and get it on their own 16.
Yeah.
3 plays later, take a shot. They get in the end zone.
Yeah.
Then the Chargers go and get it in, a handful of seconds, and the field goal. 2 seconds left, timeout.
Yeah.
Dicker the kicker, the best name in all of NFL,
I
gets
swear
it.
to God, that's
Yeah.
up there. Young Hoku and Dicker the kicker are both
Every
pretty good.
time.
No.
Every time.
By the way, what do you think of the hip drop tackle? I think that's the stupidest rule ever.
Well-
how else are you supposed to tackle guys? Like,
So
we could be honest. Mark Andrews is like what, 6'5", 6'6", 270.
sure. How else are you gonna get?
How
him
are
down?
you gonna get him down if you
And
can't
so,
hit him head up?
I think it's a little biased here because I'm an offensive based guy. You're
Yeah,
a
I
defensive
know.
based guy, so it goes both ways. I very well see your argument. Like, what do you want me to do? Lower my
Yeah.
shoulder and go after him with it there?
Yeah.
I think it's tough there. I think what I hate, especially with that, if you're gonna reference Mark Andrews like
Yeah.
a Ravens guy, I'm gonna be very
I
biased.
know. Keep going, by the way. I
But
gotta go. Keep going.
yeah, I don't know. I think it's a little biased there. Could go either way. I think. If it's a clear, yeah, I don't know. It's adapt and change so much, where it's tough to tell if that's a good one or not.
Well, it just seems like every legislation that comes in the NFL is just continually trying to protect offensive players, which I get.
Yeah.
And at the same time, I don't, because at one point we have to look at football for what it is and just say this is a man's sport where it's going to be like there are inherent risks.
Yeah.
That's why these guys get paid hundreds of millions of dollars.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. I just am a little, obviously, I'm biased because how are you supposed to tackle a guy like Mark Andrews? Or a guy
Right. No,
like,
that's totally fair.
what are you supposed to do?
It's a tough
if I
one
can't
there.
get, especially if it's like pursuit drill, right? If I can't get a good shot on him and I'm just
How
having to
else you
hawk
supposed to
him,
get him
what am
down?
I
Yeah.
supposed to do? Like, just let him, like,
Well, because-
run in front of him again,
Because it was Logan Wilson Thursday night game. Which,
Yep.
A little biased because
He's a dog.
I do like to see him do
Logan
well.
Wilson's a dog.
Make him the mayor of the state of Wyoming. Because he's the biggest name to ever
he
come out of there.
Wyoming?
Local boy.
I did not know he was Wyoming.
From Wyoming, went to Wyoming, local boy. So there's a lot.
You know what? I actually didn't know that. Now
Yeah.
that I think about it, I didn't know that was him though. In a
Yeah.
way, like that guy's a dog.
Yeah, so it's tough too because I do recall it was a Thursday night game. We were at what are they called? Shopey's Pizza there in Windsor because it was like
I like Shopey's. Place all right.
like pregame meal or something before a game the next day. And I remember watching it and me being a Ravens fan, like suspend him, because I'm like, it's Mark Andrews. We're going on a run this year. The Ravens are going to win it all this year. But it's
I
it's
thought they
tough
were going to.
there.
Honestly, I partially think that the NFL is a bit scripted because, like, I think everybody does right now because of the Chiefs and stuff. But
I just love
when
how
I
they
saw
play into it too, like all the players jump into it. Yeah.
when I saw the logo last year for Super Bowl, what was the last Super Bowl we had? Super Bowl what?
57 maybe.
I thought it was like 58, 59. I could be wrong.
It was scripted though for the Ravens.
Well, the funny thing is I saw the red and the purple, so
the
I was
Ravens,
like
yeah.
Chiefs and Ravens or
Yeah.
49ers Ravens. Well,
Yeah.
it just didn't happen.
Didn't happen.
It can't be Chiefs Ravens. That was stupid to me.
I mean,
But,
it made the AFC.
Yeah. Ravens 49ers, but
First time ever Baltimore's hosted the AFC Championship game, and
and y'all lost.
Hey.
Sorry, Cowboys suck.
Hey, that was a tough one. I think I jinxed it because at the time that's when I was living with my old one of my coaches at his place.
Yep.
I was like, hey man, you cool if I invite my brother over? Like, yeah, totally. So the only time ever I'd watched a game with my brother all year, who's not really a football guy,
He's not a football guy.
They go and lose, so I'm like,
Hey.
I totally jinxed it. Yeah.
Yeah, that's fair.
But I still appreciate the fact that he came and did it. But a little part of me was like, thanks for showing up.
Yeah. I feel that.
Yeah.
Golly. Well, yeah, I mean, listen, like I said, the Cowboys aren't exactly in a place that I can be bragging about anything. I mean, Jerry Jones is just running the program into the dirt, and I'm just waiting for him to have a massive heart attack so that he's not in a bad way, but just like, let's just move on out of the coach's room for a little bit, you know? Like, you don't need to be in the coach's room. You can just be the business guy.
Yeah. Jerry's roll down there. This may come back to haunt me considering I'm being recorded right now, but my God, if the Cowboys actually go out there and draft Ashton Genty, I may actually be rooting for him.
Dude, I hope they do.
We'll see.
I hope they get him, a good O-line, some good, healthy guys to replace the D-line. And, I mean, I like McCarthy personally. I don't think he's able to do all he wants to do because Jones is a little too active of a owner, you know?
Well, this may be an issue when the draft comes around because I feel like the Cowboys might be, top 10, top 15, whatever.
Oh, we're going to be top 10.
They might run into a situation where Shador and Ashton Genty's there. Who do you get,
There's no question who you get. You get Jonty or Ginty. Like, that's who you get.
The stand-up
you just
running
paid
back.
too much money for your quarterback. I like Dak. Make no mistake. I actually really like Dak. I think he is a good QB.
Right,
I do not.
He's maybe.
I think he's top
though.
third of the NFL when it comes to talent in
Sure,
QBs.
sure. I'll
top
agree with
third.
You. Sure, yeah.
Is he worth $240 million over 4 years? No. And maybe he is on the downhill because he's had those injuries and stuff is starting to make him a little less mobile.
Yeah.
But, he's definitely not going to be a long-term investment if you don't get an O-line that can take care of him. Because used to, Dallas's O-line was next to nobody.
Oh, I got
They
Tyler
used to be
Smith,
the best.
Zach Martin.
Yes.
Zach Martin's still playing.
But they're not who they used to be. I think Jerry Jones still looks at them like they are who they used to be, and they're not. They're just not the same O-line. They're not a bad O-line, but they're not a top third. Like, you have a top third QB, you don't have a top third O-line.
I mean, I like Beebe, the center, the rookie from K-State.
Yeah.
Rookie keyword there. He's got to, build up a little bit.
Right, and I think they could be good, but you have to fortify that. The thing that I hate about Dallas lately is they do not touch free agents. They just aren't really interested in free agents hardly at all, and it just, I love draft picks. I love it. I love that you can build out a guy, build up a guy to what you want, but you got to come get some guys that are proven.
I cannot believe Derrick Henry went to the Ravens.
I was so mad. I was
I
we didn't
can't
even
believe
talk to him. We talked to Zeke. That was our only guy we talked to. And, this was the great running back swap of 2024. Because we had what? We had
Tony Pollard.
Tony Pollard. Well, we had Tony Pollard, but I'm talking about all the people that left, right? That shifted, right? So you had Saquon go to the Eagles. Mm-hmm. You had Josh Jacobs go to the Packers. You had Aaron Jones go to the Vikings. You had DeAndre Swift go to Chicago.
Yeah.
You had Derrick Henry go to,
It's been good for all of them. Yeah.
Austin Eckler moved. All these guys who were, good backs, first-string backs. Probably 10 or 12 backs have moved. And we didn't talk to any of them. We said, we need Ezekiel Elliott back from the Patriots, and he's well past his prime. Let's just be honest.
And what's that meme they got of the 4 horsemen? And isn't Zeke one of them? Where that's the reason why you don't pay backs the big bucks. It's him, Todd Gurley, Bell, and I forget who the other one is. They always make fun of for just kind of washed up.
Zeke was fantastic.
Through
his first 5 years.
I can't believe I'm saying this, but I was full-heartedly believing the Cowboys were going to make it to the Super Bowl. Was that the rookie year with Zach and Deke?
Dude, yeah. You mean Zeke and Zach?
Zach
and Deke.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's a spin-off show right there.
Deke and Zach were Zach and Deke. Zeke and Dak were both fantastic that first year. Obviously, we ended up taking Dak, and then we continued on with Zeke. And Zeke was a top rusher for 2-3 years.
Yeah, feed Zeke.
Fantastic. And then he had
Zeke.
that SA allegation, that happened and everything. And he kind of fell off a little bit there. But, I mean, he was fantastic. But he's just not who he used to be. And that's okay. Shelf life on running backs in the league is a lot less now. That's why everybody's platooning now. You look at the Lions, they got Montgomery and Gibbs.
Yeah.
Y'all even do it a little bit at the Ravens. Obviously, Derrick Henry's your main guy, but then you got Justice Hill. then you got the Washington Commanders who do Eckler and Brian Robinson. You got like everybody is doing multiple backs, and you should do that. That's what we were doing with Zeke and Pollard for a while, and now we're just like we got Rico Dowdle, who's fine. I'm not super impressed by him, but we need a good running back.
Yeah, he ain't your number one guy.
No, and we need a new receiver too. Like I love CD, and he's obviously the wide receiver one, but we need to give him some other weapons so that he's not just getting double covered every time.
Well, my guy I coach with, who's a Cowboys fan, he always jokes with. He goes, it's a problem when you have to give jet motion to him.
Yep.
When he's not a jet motion guy.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah, you just are trying to find unique and creative ways to use what you have, and it's not working.
Yeah.
Like that's just where we're at. But I have kind of foregone right now I'm a Cowboys fan by affiliation and by
default
because I'm from there. But I'm a back pocket Lions fan because my buddy plays for him.
Sure.
And so I'm just like, you know what, go Lions. All right, I want them to make it to the Super Bowl. I'm cool with that.
Yeah.
Well, Lions Ravens action be kind of cool,
That's what I've been telling everybody.
Yeah.
I mean, unless you're a fan of any other team in the NFC North, I don't see how you can't root for the Lions at this
nobody
point.
hates them. Like that's the funny thing. Nobody hates the Lions because they haven't been hateable.
Yeah.
He's got Dan Campbell, who's a football guy.
Yeah.
That guy is just caffeine and twisted steel and just wants to just run the ball down your throat.
Yeah.
And we're going to come up and we're going to bite a kneecap. Like, that's just him. I love him to death.
Always going for on fourth down.
I love him. Yeah.
Yeah.
You can only do that for so many times, though. Like,
if
you don't convert, like, eventually you're going to get crucified.
Yeah, because it kind of hurt him in the championship game last year. Yeah.
That was crazy they came back last year. Anyway, so off the NFL subject for a little. Actually, hold on real quick. What's your Super Bowl prediction this year? What do you think? Obviously, you're a Ravens fan. How did you become a Ravens fan again? I know I've heard it, but I want you to tell me again.
Yeah, so, like, I moved a lot as a kid, so I never really grew up in one set state or spot.
Why did you move a lot? Because your dad wasn't military?
No, he just got different jobs and we moved all the time.
Fair enough.
And so when I was a little kid, I think we were at a restaurant. I want to say it was the Ravens and the Titans. I forget who it was exactly, but definitely the Ravens. And I look at the TV, and I'm like, Dad, who's that playing? He's like, oh, it's so-and-so and so-and-so. Yeah, who you rooting for? I want the purple team to win.
No, fair enough.
And and it stuck, and have been fortunate enough to see the Ravens win one.
Yep.
Gosh.
I haven't seen that in my lifetime.
When I forget when we were in middle school, but the Mile High Miracle happened, and the Ravens came to Denver and beat the Broncos. That's when I was living here.
Yep.
My dad was on a business trip. I called him like, Dad, the Ravens just beat the Colts. They're coming to Denver. Like, please. Like, my birthday's coming around the corner. Can we go to the game?
Tickets.
Like, we can be in the nosebleeds. I don't care. Like, please, we have to go. And sure enough, we were way enough up there, and we got them. And the coldest game I've ever been to, and hopefully I've ever will be to. It went into overtime. My brother's birthday party, 10, whatever, however old he was, birthday party. We were late to that, and I'm a little kid, losing my mind, getting into it. My dad's kind of doing the shh, because he's afraid I'm going to start something, And then luckily we went. I think my last year when we were playing in college a few years ago, and the last time the Ravens came to town and we went.
Nice.
And I was like, "Don't worry, Dad. Like I'm old enough now where I could back myself up."
Yeah, I ain't gonna get you in a fight.
Yeah,
Dad.
Don't worry, Dad. I can cover myself. Yeah.
That's funny.
Stuck.
Yeah. So, who's your prediction then for this year? So you're a Ravens fan. So you think the Ravens are going to take it? Do you think they're good enough?
I don't know. Well,
you can be biased on one answer and realistic on another answer.
Well, I mean, automatic, man, hasn't really been looking automatic this year. As soon as he missed that second one with the Steelers last week, I was like, it's over. We're not winning this one.
Yeah, that was tough.
So we got to figure it out there. I mean,
by the way, that game needs to happen in a dark alley every
they say
time.
That every year.
Dude, it's just the Steelers and Ravens, and I feel like it's the chippiest game I can imagine every time.
To be fair, the Ravens have only been an organization since '96, but I'll put it up there that it is the most I hate you, get lost, rivalry in all of sports between them two.
Oh, between those two, yeah, absolutely. I was gonna say I thought you could say organization. I was like, no, I think the Steelers are kind of up there on the like the the FU guys.
As far as getting after it, like I think it's up there. And I forget, I grew up watching the the NFL top tens, and stuff like that, and they'd always say that quote right there.
Yeah,
this game needs to be played in a dark alley, because there's so many greats that get into it too, and the fact that they used to always meet up in the playoffs too. But,
Yeah, I know.
So I mean,
Both have fallen off a little bit as an organization, like just as that
Yeah.
tough guy organization. But it's also evolving in NFL. Like it's not really a tough guy, like just league as much anymore. It's a lot more spread it out, pass it, finesse.
Yeah.
But it's all right.
I mean, I would love to say the Ravens, although at the same time, though, it blows my mind how well the Chiefs are doing, considering how many guys they have out. They just seem like they've been pulling it out there.
It seems a lot like a little suspicious.
I don't know. I mean, I would love to say the Ravens because I don't really know. I mean, I would love to say the Ravens. I don't know who they got. I firmly stand, though, the NFC. I think it's going to be Lions-Eagles in the championship. I think it goes either way.
Yeah.
I wasn't crazy with the Eagles, but Saquon might be the answer there.
Dude, that backwards hurdle the other day. I was just looking at it like if I was in that spot where I got hurdled by a guy backwards, I'm quitting.
Well, the fact
it's like I'm done. Like
it's a spin move. He did the spin move into a backwards hurdle. That's what makes it even more crazy.
No, it's ridiculous. Like it's just okay. Yeah, I'm done playing football. You're very clearly better at this, and I'm not cut of the same cloth.
Yeah,
than guys.
Yeah.
So you think Eagles, Lions there
I think
in the
for
NFC
sure
Championship?
Eagles, Lions.
Don't forget about the Vikings.
I know,
Vikings doing all right.
I know. My cousin would hate me, though, because he said I'm rooting against it, but he's not really sold with Sam Darnold. I think he's just kind of riding a wave.
I think Sam Darnold's doing okay. I'm not sure he's going to be like – I don't know if they're going to treat him like they did Geno Smith whenever Seattle did Geno Smith when he kind of had this second
it's tough because they took JJ there in the first round.
JJ's a handoff specialist.
Yeah.
I never looked at him as in all of his film at Michigan, I never looked at him as this fantastic passer. I'm not saying he couldn't be, but
a good program, so you got dudes around.
It was just kind of tough for me to look at him and just be like, this is guys that could have. And also, by the way, let me say this too. I never thought Caleb Williams is like the second coming. Caleb Williams is just a flash of. It's the exact same story as Trevor Lawrence.
Well, what I
going to be a average QB.
Yeah.
Who was projected to be the second coming of Christ. That's just my thought.
I still think it's a little too early to write off Trevor Lawrence, but Caleb Williams.
I don't disagree. But
maybe I'm contradicting myself here, but yeah, he's not it. He's your first true realistic diva prima donna, I guess, of this generation. I'm not crazy with the whole fingernails thing because
I think it's stupid. Yeah, I think it's
because it said it spelled out the F word on it. In Utah or whatever it was they were playing.
Yeah, and then he got throttled.
But then what I hate too is ESPN will edit the photos where they'll edit letters on top of the nails, and that's what makes me mad. I'm like, do you guys not realize what was originally written on the nails before the edit here? Like, why are we profounding this on social media?
I just get mostly annoyed that it's this constant, like, this guy's the greatest. Have you noticed every year? Now, granted, Caleb Williams was on the projection far before, the draft was coming up. They were saying he's going to be the guy.
Yeah.
But have you noticed every single year there's a guy who, like a quarterback, who they bring up, like, you look at film and you look at his drills, like, this guy's going to be fantastic. This guy, Will Levis was that guy 2 years ago.
It was Zach Wilson the year before that. They always find some dude every year they overhype.
Yeah. That always annoys me, but then when I see somebody like just saying he's going to save the Bears organization, he's going to save the Panthers organization, whoever it is.
Oh, right, yeah.
I think it's the stupidest thing ever because it's just putting so much pressure on a guy that is, nobody can live up to that hype anyway.
Yeah.
You could have Tom Brady, and Tom Brady obviously wasn't Tom Brady until year 3, 4.
Yeah.
He wasn't.
Well, have you heard that's what he's come out and said, where he's literally bantered the NFL. He's like, the NFL right now is ridiculous and is never going to get productivity.
Oh, from young QBs, no.
Yeah, because you got to develop them. I mean, you look back at the stats with Peyton Manning, who's arguably one of the best quarterbacks ever. If he was playing in today's day and age, would not have lasted past year 2, year 3. Like, you got to develop these guys.
Yeah, and they did it with Jordan Love under Aaron Rodgers, and he's
got
going
to
to
develop them. Yeah,
and while I don't think Jordan Love is like a top 5 QB,
he definitely got paid too much. I think he needs. He
did
years.
too.
He had
but
one
he's going to
good
be
year
good.
And needs a little bit to develop. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think he's going to be a guy that's pretty that has a long career.
I think so. Yeah.
But then you set up
unless
guys.
they draft another dude here in the first round who doesn't play for 5 years after that.
Absolutely.
Out of what other Mountain West conference they get him out of?
I mean, we'll see what happens. But I get so tired every year of getting peddled how great this person is, and I'm like, no, he could be good. Yeah. But if we're being honest, he's probably not going to be as good as you say he is.
Nope.
You know, but I guess it's just stuff to feed us. You know what we think. But
get the fans what they want.
Yeah, you know, but. Either way.
Yeah.
But, brother, you and I spent a lot of time together. You and I have obviously been friends since 2017 when we both came on to the UNC Bears football squad, SCO Bears.
That's right.
Went through a lot. You left me in 21 to fend for myself that last year. I always loved – so I started a group chat with Jeremy Sadler, Grant Stevens, Robert Moss, Lucas Lavin, because those were the guys that always hung out together. Yeah. And I started a group chat with them on, I think it was Snapchat or something. I just titled it Brooks's Deserters because I was by myself that whole last year. Nobody stuck around. It was just me and then a bunch of transfers and then some of the 2019 class.
If you think about it, because obviously we started college the same year.
Yeah.
You may have been the last one. I mean, there was definitely guys who were still playing, but not at UNC because they transferred. You might have been the last one from that class who stayed at UNC.
I was the last guy.
Yeah.
And then I was the last guy for that class, the 2018 class, and then there were only 6 guys from the 2019 class. So it was me for representing 2017 and 2018.
Yeah.
And then it was Alec Lewis, David Hogue, Kurt Gallup, Ty Arrington, and then I think there's a 5th or 6th there, 6, but there were 6 guys from that last class in 22. EA was still there.
Okay,
EA was still there, and there was one other guy, but it was just I'm just kind of holy smokes, it's really just me, and all the guys I came here with are gone, doing better things, moving on with their lives, and I'm just here with a organization that's not going to win more than 3 games this year, if that, and
just can't get enough of that derriere.
Here we go, buddy. Yeah, and here I am back. So we're just here. But
absolutely.
But no, we spent a lot of time together, man. I'm glad you're on this because
man, appreciate you having me on this. Yeah, sweet.
Yeah. So Garrett Betty, tight end, fullback for the UNC Bears.
You're
current math teacher and football coach for the What is there? What are the Windsor Wizards?
The Windsor Wizards. Yeah.
Oh my God.
I got a little story for you. So here you go. So we celebrated this year the 100-year anniversary of the Wizard mascot. So I was informed of the story by Chase Lancrete, one of our former teammates. He went to Windsor, and his mom, who was kind of my connection into teaching in the school district.
They just had their first kid.
They did, yeah.
We're happy for
Beautiful little baby. They brought the baby over to one of our games, so it was nice to see the little one there.
What'd they name him, by the way? Girl or boy? I forgot.
Boy.
Okay.
I hear
Brooks.
That's what it is.
Seriously?
Crew King.
That is the second kid I've known this year named Crew.
Really?
And I think Brooks should have been in the conversation. The first one, Brooks was in the conversation.
When the next one comes
Chase.
up. I knew it. I was like,
please name your kid after
Crew.
me.
I've only seen the little one once there, or a few times actually, because I caught him at a baby shower.
Yeah.
So Windsor is the mascots, and so we celebrate our 100-year anniversary. And I felt like it was kind of a passage, you kind of have to know the story in order to get a job here. Mm-hmm. But I guess that was just a one opinionated thought with me because everybody didn't know it got a job there. But so in 1924, 100 years ago, Windsor High School used to be at where Windsor Middle School is right now. Mm-hmm. And they played basketball, and the basketball program was so good that either the district or the state was like, hey, get it together or we're cutting you guys. You're not going to be existing anymore.
Wait, because they were so good?
They were so bad.
I thought you said they were so good.
Sorry,
how does that work?
I misspoke there. Yeah, no, sorry. They were so bad, either get it together or you're out of here. So 1924, there's a lot of wars, battles going on. So they get some old vet guy who came in and he goes, yeah, hey, you guys are on a strict diet. You're only eating prunes, water, and saltine crackers. I could be wrong there, but something
nuts,
strict like that. And it was, this is when we're working out. This is when you're doing the school. This is when we're working out again.
Got
this is
when
we're
RFK,
practicing. Yeah, the old school military. This is how we're getting to it. And in the span of 2 years, turns them around into a nationally well-known basketball program.
Yeah.
And so we got the banner and trophy and the photos all hung up in the school that they won nationals in Chicago or something that year, 1924 national champions in basketball. Mm-hmm. And whatever broadcasting system they had at the time, the commentators going, well, would you look at that? The Windsor Bulldogs are getting really, they were the Bulldogs back then. The Windsor Bulldogs are looking magical out there. You could call them a bunch of wizards. And thanks to that comment, it stuck. So what was the Windsor Bulldogs is now the Windsor Wizards. And so we actually wore a lot of as coaches this year for game stuff, like kind of Bulldog T-shirts to remember it. We had a little Bulldog sticker.
Throwback.
Yeah. But so that's what stuck.
That's a cool story.
They were not the Windsor Wizards. They were the Windsor Bulldogs, and some commentator back in the 20s, like, they're magical. Let's call them the Wizards, and it stuck.
I got to be honest with you, and I mean this so respectfully because that's a very cool story. That's a terrible name for like the Wiz. I mean, granted, it's unique, and I'll give you that.
I mean, I can't say too much now because I work for the school.
I mean,
I'm not going to sit here and lie to you, and because I played Windsor a lot growing up, and I was like, that's stupid, man. Let's just put it to these guys, But I mean, I look at it, now obviously a little biased working there, like, well, what other schools in America are there where their mascot's the Wizard?
That's a very good point,
so,
and I won't take that away from you.
Kind of a unique
It'd be really cool if y'all have a guy that like dresses up like Gandalf every year.
We do.
That's perfect.
Walter the Wizard. We had a student class vote last year, and Walter won. I'm just glad it wasn't like Willie or something like that, but Walter won. So I won't say who for sequency discrepancies here, but I know who the child is. Dresses up every game.
Yep.
And obviously at the beginning of the year, God, we feel bad for the mascot wearing all that clothes, because it's so hot.
Yeah.
And then later
right
on,
about now, it's
fine.
Now,
now like we had a snow game a few weeks ago, and then we look over the mascot, and all the kids are, man, I'm sure the mascot's feeling pretty darn good right about now, all layered up.
It'd actually be really cool if like third and long or third and short, like third down, y'all always had like the Gandalf, like, you shall not pass. Like, you can do some cool stuff.
They should do that. They should. No, we got
that'd be pretty cool.
I'm gonna put that in his ear. Or, I think it's universal too, or not just football, but just any sport.
Yeah,
we normally do that.
Something cool with it.
We always do first downs, or I forget the guy's name. But always do that. Hey, I see chains moving. What's that mean? First down. I think that's good enough for a Windsor. First down.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Something like that. But I'm gonna have to put that one in their ear.
You should, dude. That'd be great. You're a big movie guy. So you've seen Lord of the Rings, right?
Oh yeah.
Hope has never watched them. Those are my favorite series ever, and Hope has never watched them.
Well, maybe she can get into The Hobbit because those are newer and more CGI'd appropriate.
But they're not as good. Like, let's just be honest. They're not as good. I watched them the other day. I was like, these are kind of trash, like comparatively speaking. But I don't know. I digress.
Don't talk to the precious.
Listen. If we did the whole podcast,
I could. Might have to take an intermission here every 3 minutes so I can recheck my voice. But yeah.
I was football person. No, but I'm glad you hopped on this, man, because we had so many funny stories together. Like, we lived together for a little while. We kind of determined we're better friends than we are roommates. Just kind of, like, we had good times and all, but at the same time, like, not everybody's meant to live together, man.
Well, and at the same time, when we were living together too, COVID hit, and
we were just seeing so much of each other.
Every single person was taking COVID differently, figuring out how to go about life, and there was a point in time when we were quarantined for what felt like 2 months, but realistically, like what still felt like more than it needed to be, the 2-3 weeks, and we were just exhausted. Just the sight of knowing that you were living next to something like, I'm tired of you.
I need to get out of here.
Of you.
Please leave me alone.
Yeah. So we were all going through stuff then. Yeah.
Though I will say, like, during that 2020 period where we were all quarantined, because we were like, Ben was patient zero. I don't know who he got it from, but Ben Raybon, I love you, Ben. You screwed all of us because you got all of us sick. And as a result, everybody, because remember, Ben got sick. Yeah. And then I followed suit right after that. Yeah, we all tested positive.
Well, because so Ben got it, and he did the normal protocol.
Ben was our kicker, by the way.
He got it, Tuesday, Wednesday, or whatever. Or maybe his was like a week before. And then you were on like a trip or something.
I was coming home for something. I don't even know what it was, but I was coming home for something. And I remember having a cough on my way there. And I was like, oh, it's probably nothing. And I get home and I'm like, okay, well, like, it never hit me hard. It just felt like a cold, know? But I get home and obviously we were getting tested X amount of times a week. And I tested positive and I was like, oh, great, And so we got all sick. I called my parents. I'm like, hey, just a heads up, you probably need to quarantine.
Yeah.
Dude, here's where I realized my parents I always knew, but I realized they have a wonderful relationship. I texted them at like 10 p.m. here, time here, and I texted them. I was like, hey, just want to check in. I know y'all are having a quarantine. Y'all all good? What's going on? They're like, oh, yeah, we just ordered a pizza, and we're watching a movie with wine, and we just went on a midnight swim. And I was like, I hate y'all. I'm single and sad. I'm single and alone, and I love that y'all are happy, but at the same time, screw y'all, because I'm just sitting here with my buddies, and granted, we were playing a lot of Call of Duty.
We did. We had
that
a lot
was
of stuff
so
to get
much
us
fun, though, I will say.
Yeah.
We just sit there and play like 30 rounds of zombies, and then just
because I was never good at it, because I was the old I don't like decoy or distraction or I would just, like, hey Betty, look over the ledge, and whoever comes, let us know, and you guys would reload or whatever. I'm not the best video gamer. Yeah, and I'm not.
You
good
were our
at zombies.
lookout.
That's sure, whatever. I can't do Fortnite. I can't build, but if we do bots, like I can do bots. But zombies, I'm putting that in a different category because I cannot. I was just the old lookout.
Yeah, and like we'd have like a horde coming out, like Betty, you didn't tell us. We find our ways through, Oh yeah.
Because I felt like I was the last one. I was actually who got hit with the COVID thing.
You were, yeah.
Because Ben got it whenever, and then you got a little after.
Yep.
And so I showed up for Feel Good Fridays. We'd like to put it there.
Oh yeah.
And so we always did an hour of running first and an hour of lifting. And so we get done with the hour of running, which normally Fridays, were it got after you day. You kind of felt it a little bit. So I get done with it there and. June, our athletic trainer comes up, like, hey, I think, we know Ben's, been in quarantine, tested for it. We know you're his roommate. Brooks came back positive. So after the workout, you should go and get tested too. And I looked at him, I'm like, well, don't you think I should go and get tested right now?
Yeah, I know, right?
Oh yeah, that's probably a good idea. So I remember,
June liked to make sure you got your work in beforehand. It made me so mad.
I'll say that's maybe the only time I've, weaseled my way out of a workout right there, because nobody knew what COVID was. And I'm looking at something like, hey, I don't want to be in trouble here. And I remember I'm like, okay, before I even go get tested, I'm gonna go to like the store and get like everything that I need. Or
to make sure like I got chicken soup, I got emergency and Pedialyte.
I forget if it probably was a store. I definitely remember I did some sort of a stop first before going to get, brain
tested.
poke through the nose or whatever they did there. And, and sure enough, and then the fun times we had there trying to just keep us busy with whatever we did.
We played a lot of spades. We played a lot of hearts.
I missed that.
That was fun.
That's
I got so mad that one time. I remember being so mad because we were playing and I said, let's write down what we bid. And then y'all were like, no, you bid this. I was like, that's why we write it down. Like I got so mad.
We were also cooped up in the house and, fed up with it. But I do miss that because I'm a competitive guy and I do like card games because I feel like that's the way I can outsmart people. And because I haven't really played since, like I've tried with other people, various other games. I'm like, damn it, this is
nobody gets it, dude.
You guys don't know the rules.
Yeah, I got to explain the rules, and I'm gonna be good for like the first 9 times we play it.
Because I haven't played seriously. Because what was that? Was that Hearts where you shoot the moon?
Yes.
I haven't played that seriously since.
Hearts.
I think I've tried Spades since then, but Hearts legitimately like I haven't seriously like. No, this is what we're playing. Here's how we do it, and.
So Hope, my wife, obviously, as people know, her grandmother loves to play cards. And so we always play cards like once a year over there. And she likes this game called Triple Play, which Betty is the worst game I've ever played in my entire life. It's horrible. She changes the rules every time. And it's like
as long as, from the way the name sounds, as long as there's some sort of a triple action, then you're fine.
Dude, it is a 4-hour minimum game. That's one game. And I'm just like, can we play so I told her this year, I was like, because I'm in charge of the turkey. So I was like, I will do the turkey. I'll do all these things for Thanksgiving.
And I get the game.
But I'm telling you right now, we're playing spades. We're playing hearts.
Yeah.
I don't give a damn about triple play. We're not playing it. I hate it. It's just not fun. But I was gonna ask you. So you talked about Feel Good Friday.
Mm-hmm.
What was your favorite or not favorite, because favorite's the wrong word to use.
I get the message.
What was the worst workout you ever did at UNC? And I want to see if ours match up.
Well, I feel like obviously the Feel Good Friday has to be with the infamous. I always called the day in which everybody threw up. I don't know one single person that didn't throw up because, we did our whole Feel Good Friday, which. At the time, they didn't really care what the weather was. It was basically...
Dude, it never mattered. We didn't start listening to compliance till McCaffrey got there, funny enough.
Yeah.
But it could be negative 15 out, and you're out there because compliance isn't there yet.
Which, truth be told, I think it was 15 or something. It was low, but damn it, you're breathing. Get out there. Is
Yeah.
basically what it turned into.
You start sweating, and like my beard would have icicles hanging down, and it was bad.
And they did the whole, like the stations or whatever. They put you in position groups, and and that's when everybody would be biased because everybody wanted to start at Wicks. Our O-line coach. The sleds. No, let's get this one out the way.
Yep.
And
I was always that guy too.
Oh, what was his name? Was it Coaxum? That dude?
No, Coaxum wasn't part of it. No, you know what? The second worst one was Coach Hayden with the box drill. The box drill was one. Because you did the box drill straight into Coach Wick's, sled drill. And for those who don't understand this, we did winter gym, which was an 8. I believe it was 8.
It was like 6, man.
No, I think it was 8 stations.
It was like 6 in the morning.
Yeah, no. It was
stations.
5 a.m. It was a 5 a.m. workout in the freezing cold.
It may have been
middle of.
However, you can evenly split the football positions up because we were 98.
Well, here's the thing. So they divide you into groups, right? And it's not by position or anything. They start you into groups every week or like every winter, so that you're with this group of people that kind of you keep accountable and stuff. And it's a mixture of skill positions, mids, and bigs. So my first year, I was in a position group with, I think we started out with 10 guys, like you normally do.
Was that the family year we did it?
Probably.
Yeah.
Probably. But the thing is, so it was me, Theron Verna. Shoot, maybe we had Mikey McCauley. I don't know, but and then we had Benavidez, Jackson Hall, Nat Steele, like guys like that. But we had like 3 or 4 guys that were also part of our squad either quit or just kind of call it.
So you're short number.
So we went from 10 to 6, which if you're doing a station workout, they don't stop once you get through all 6 of your guys.
It's
They're just like, okay, you're timed for 5 minutes at this station, so you're just going to keep going. So we get to the box drill that's just continuous and there's no break. And then you get to the sled and nobody's there to back you up. So like multiple guys are having to go the entire time. Yeah. It was horrible.
I do remember that because my back would lock up with that.
I remember seeing you on the ground like June working on like that sucks, Betty. Sorry.
It never did till then. No, but I think it was Coaxums. I forget who. We did the ropes. Like you just stationed.
Battle ropes was the best station there was.
No, it was easy.
It was the best.
It lined up perfectly because then we rolled into the ladders. Like pretty straightforward. And I don't remember this still infamous everybody threw up day. Coaxum. All right, here we go. Ready, go. And like Kurt just, and then Darren, and then I, just the fact that we heard it, we didn't even. We maybe went through one, maybe twice through when a normal gets like a handful of plethora, and just the fact that Coaxum he didn't start it. Because we were all throwing up. So
there's nothing you could do.
Okay, is everybody not throwing up now? Okay, now let's get into it.
That was in 2020, and that was when we did divide up into position groups.
Okay.
So that was that year, because I remember that because I was thrilled because I was with the linebackers, and we had a stout, like, stable of linebackers. They were like 12, 13, 14 of us for the first time ever, because in the years past, it was like
you got numbers,
4.
You got the numbers,
So we were, I remember that though. That was my day was similar, but it was a plethora of things. It was Feel Good Friday in quotes. I don't even think it was on a Friday. I think it was on a Wednesday. We did winter gym, right? And we did
on a Wednesday.
Yeah, dude, we didn't used to do it on Friday. Remember, we used to for the first
winter
4 weeks.
Conditioning, it was okay.
Yeah, we just called it winter gym, but like it was 8 stations, and I think I can remember most of the stations. So you did like an agility drill, like 5, 10, 5. You did battle ropes, you did ladders, you did box drill, you did
like sleds,
you did like back pedal, up downs, mat drills,
the same variation.
Yes. It was just, and it's just 1 hour straight of whatever the coaches feel like. And I keep telling this story. I'm sure I'm adding stuff at this point. Like I'm sure I'm combining days, but I remember us doing that at 5 a.m. in the morning. It's just horrible. And then
cold as can be, where every time you did like an up down,
your hands
the pellets, the little turf pellets would stick into your hand. You would have embed prints on your hand.
You start out with your hoodie and like full sweatsuit, James Harrison style, and you end up at the end with a t-shirt.
Everybody, the steam's coming off them.
And we had to do 2 sets of rolls for that. One, because Jamari was overweight. That was one.
Pushing him.
Yeah, and then the other one was because Keaton Mott's phone went off in meetings. He didn't admit it was him. And then later on, he came up to the coach. He's like, hey, coach, I'll just do the punishment. Like trying to act like this hero dude. And they're like, no. Don't worry about it. Yeah. We don't want you taking the blame for what you didn't do. Yeah. You know, whatever. And even though it was his phone, so we all did lame dogs and rolls back. Yeah. And everybody's throwing up. And then after that, we had metabolic.
And so I guess, like you said, I'm kind of washing them all into one. I do think that's the same. I remember that
so bad.
You know, because we did the metabolic, or I'm sorry, the winter gym where you're already going to get a handful of guys thrown up.
So tired.
Then I believe that day not everybody ran extra, only like study hall guys or something like that did a little extra.
Maybe everybody did.
Okay, again, there's so many of these days that we did.
Everybody did, but no, you're right. Only study hall guys did, but we were all freshmen, so we had to be on it.
Yeah, versus guys like us who are on second semester. We were guys. We finished the first semester with like 3.5, 3.8, but sure, we still need study hall. Like we don't know how.
So the first year they only they don't let freshmen pass. Like their first year with less than 8 hours.
First year, not first semester. Big difference.
First year. It's not just your first semester you did good. It's your whole first year you have a minimum 8 hours of study hall a week. And that's exactly right, because we had gassers with it too.
Yeah, something. And
it was horrible.
And I'm looking around like, you're kidding me, man. You know, like, come on. Yeah. And then
dude, I got a 4.0. And what are we doing?
I always hold guys accountable to that. Like like when, like for me coaching now, homecoming comes around, like all the, distractions they get into. And I always say to myself, if you guys want to go against me, I will introduce you to the day, my punishment day in college, and which still gives me nightmares.
Yep.
And
the day the music died.
And this is a fun part I think everybody always forgets about with this. It's just, so, obviously we did the lame dogs, that's a 3-legged bear crawl where you got one leg up in the air. So it was like lame dog down, roll back, lame dog down, roll back. We got like 3 of those. And you had people who were just like mid roll
and
on the roll,
rolling through it.
But what I think everybody always forgets is the little brief intermission time. This happened both before the workout and after the workout. This is when Snapchat filters were a thing, and they finally restricted the premium pay for the good filters on Snapchat. The whatever her name is, Sarah Angel, whatever her name is, the sad dog lady commercial.
Oh yeah.
Everybody in the locker room, there was
a
filter.
No, in the arms of an angel.
Because everybody is just sitting there with their butt on the floor, back to the locker there. People are either laying face up, face down on the floor. There's not a single person who is just, come on guys, let's go get the workout. There's just so many. I don't think I have any of them saved. But there's
guys, I have some.
That's the story I think everybody always forgets with that. In the arms
I had one of
an angel.
I had one of Germ. I had one of Mikey McCauley, and they were like also with the when you try your best but you don't succeed.
People hunched over the trash can. People on all fours in the bathroom.
People either found or lost God that day.
Yep.
That's just how it was, and that was just such a bad.
And that's what I always like. And people always say like, hey, what do you miss the most about college, or what do you remember the most? I never, I never say like it was this game we won, or this max. It's moments like that where
yes,
I'm like, this is what I remember, and damn it, it's that stuff too at the end of the day that I miss. Yeah, because it's not me succeeding or failing. It's everybody.
It brought everybody together though. Nothing.
It's those you don't wish that upon your evilest enemy.
No.
But at the same time, made you a better person for doing it, because you look back on it like, hey, I'm out here with you guys. Like I'll do whatever for you guys out here.
And you have no choice but to laugh at it. Like you just look back at it. I talked to Rob and Grant Stevens about it the other day, and Rob, like, one of the things he remembers from that day was, I was ahead of everybody on the lame dogs and rolls, and I got to number 3, and people were saying they were done because they were acting like, they stopped counting, Yeah. So like skill players who took a long time on the second one come back like, I'm done, and he's like, nah, big dog, nah, I was ahead. Like he's just
I remember that. Oh
I know,
God.
and I was right behind him the whole time, and I'm like, Rob, listen, bro, I finished after you, but like I did mine, man. I promise you, I did mine.
That was the day you hated everybody.
I hated everybody. everybody and their mother.
Exactly. That could have been your own parents out there. No, you do your numbers. Yeah. You do your numbers.
Listen. Yeah. You just start screaming at people. Yeah. I rolled through Noah Soul's puke 3 times.
Oh, and I think
because he threw up more than anybody else on those rolls, and I'm just like, Noah, please.
I think I'm not going to stand here and lie and say I didn't throw because I don't know one person that didn't. I can proudly say though I did not roll in my own vomit. I at least had the courage to like, okay, finish it. Okay, and then I ran off to a few yards behind the sideline and then did it. You know,
I've only thrown up once in a workout, and it was that, and I went, and it wasn't even because of I needed to throw up because my stomach was turning. I could not stop coughing, and I coughed myself into coughing up everything out of me. It was, So, dude, do you remember? Were you in my lifting class in metabolic? Whenever Dan Ryan caused us to restart everything.
Oh man.
So I was in the 8 a.m. whatever metabolic lifting group, and it's me and Gene Desir on the same platform, and Gene Desir, the old white buffalo. This was the day. This was his freshman year. This is the day he saw the white buffalo.
I tell kids this story all the time when they go to college. I'm like, let me tell you a little story about the white buffalo. You about to go play college ball? Let me tell you about the white buffalo.
The one that got away. It gets everybody.
Yeah.
So Gene Desir is on my platform. I'm almost positive. I could be mixing up days, but I'm pretty sure it was Gene Desir was with me, and then Dan Ryan was in the crew. And this was the day Dan quit because Jimmy was watching. So for those that don't know, metabolic is a full body workout where you start out doing front squat and you do 4 sets of 10 on everything on the minute. So you have to do 1 set on the minute each time, and then your partner goes up right after you and does his.
Well, I think something important to add on, there's no core, there's no speed. It is just workouts.
Yep.
And they would put trash cans down the middle because they knew you were going to throw. It's just stationary lifts.
It's just nothing you can do.
No jumping, no running, no core. It is basics lifts.
So you start out
back to back.
Yep. And you start out front squat, and then you do bench press, and then you do something like an overhead press.
Yeah.
You know? And then you do it's back squat. You start out back squat, bench press, overhead press, and then you go to front squat, incline press, some other overhead.
Maybe not. I was thinking they kind of try to station it like upper body, lower body.
No, you did all 3 in one.
You're right.
Go,
they mix it up. That's
you did all 3 in one go.
Yeah.
So like the first one back squat, then bench press, and then you do 4 sets of 10 back squat, 4 sets of 10 bench press, 4 sets of 10 overhead press.
Boom, boom, boom.
Yep, and then you do 4 sets of 10 front squat, 4 sets of 10 incline press, 4 sets of 10
boom,
shoulder press.
Yeah.
And then the last one's buys, tries, and
guys.
pull downs. So you're
buys, tries, and guys.
Yep, that's it, dude. And so you're just in a spot where you're like you want to start out on squat. Because it gets it over.
That was the trick. That was the trick. Yes.
By your 5th exercise, you've done all the hard stuff, and now you just get to coast.
Just crank out some curls. Yeah,
that's it.
Yeah.
So me and Gene started out on back squat, and we get through it, and we get through bench, and we get through, and I'm just hyping him up the whole time, like, let's go, Gene, let's go, Gene, and he's getting all hyped up too, and we're just having a good time. Like, this is our 4th or 5th one of the year, so we're not like we're not lambs to the slaughter right now.
By all means, not masters, but
but you know what to expect,
drill.
And mentally, it's not killing you. And then we get past front squat, so we're on the incline bench. We're just about to start, and Coach Jimmy, the entire time has been saying, Dan, make sure you're getting all your reps and all this stuff. He's like, I counted 7 there, Dan. Make sure you get it. And I was like, because I think he was on the platform across from us. I said, Dan, please, just get all your reps, dude.
Yeah.
And I just watched Jimmy just go over to Jeff. And I'm like, oh, God, this is it. And then sure enough, I hear, all right, football. And he said, Dan Ryan doesn't want to get all his reps. So you know what we're going to do? We're going to start it all over. And we're just over here like, oh, man, we had to start back on back squat. So that day we did 80 reps of squats.
I don't think I was in that, but I remember hearing that.
I was yelling at Jeff midway through because I hit this point of like fake it till you make it.
Yeah.
And I said, Coach, give me his reps. I'll do his reps. Like all point. And then all the while, like Jeff comes over here and he's like, you need to quit talking back to me. He's like, Coach, I'm about to pass out. I'm doing this strictly to get me through this. I am about to fall over and die.
Yeah.
It was so bad.
An infamous day we will remember forever.
Yep. That's like the day Keaton Mott kicked the water bottles.
That's true.
You remember that day too?
Yeah. Hey,
Yeah.
sorry, I think I need to go.
Go ahead, man. Take a break.
You need anything here?
I'm good, brother.
Okay.
Take a break. Hey, man, I'm not the same guy I used to be either. I had 2 of those New Belgium beers, and I was like, ooh,
Dying out.
I'm feeling all right. You know, that's where I'm calling it. But no, we've been through a lot of adversity, we'll say, in our college career. I was gonna ask, what's your favorite? So when we roomed together, what was your favorite memory from us rooming together? And I can start us off if you want, because I got some funny ones.
You know, I mean, we talked about it a little bit already, but I do like the COVID times there.
Yeah,
you know, just doing that. I mean,
the whole thing was during COVID.
I mean, for as much as the COVID, damn it, I'm tired of hearing your alarm going off. You know,
yeah, dude.
You know, stuff like that. I mean, it was still fun.
If you're not gonna get up at 5, quit setting your alarm for 5.
Yeah, just getting through it there. You know, so I mean, that was fun there. I mean, that was a fun one there. You know, we did the games. The darts was a lot of fun there.
I was getting on my list here is the dartboard wall, because very rarely were people actually hitting the dartboard. Like when we moved out, we had to spackle a whole lot of that.
Well, and then I remember that was COVID. We couldn't leave, you know, so we're all quarantined, locked up. That was the most physical activity we have, you know. So we get through a game of cricket, and I don't know about you, but I'm like, damn, I'm a little winded right now.
Dude,
you know?
Dude, we would do when we would play spades, didn't we have like push-up bets, you know, to where somebody had to do push-ups afterward? I remember us doing that.
All I know is I won a lot, so I didn't
You
do
did.
too many push-ups.
Ben lost a lot. I think us two tied for like top, and
Yeah.
Ben usually lost.
I remember that. I mean, we did a lot of home cooking, so that was kind of fun too.
That was fun.
I will say this. I think you guys. I had an idea of it, but I guess it was with you guys where I kind of mastered it. One of the pros I took away from COVID was I forced myself how to meal prep.
Yep. Oh,
And
you
so-
meal prep like clockwork every Sunday. I think it was Sunday.
Still to this day, my girlfriend hates it. She'll, be like Sunday, like, hey, let's go out for lunch. I'm like, all right, well, I have to do this, and this, so we have to be back by then.
Yeah.
So I remember doing a lot, we did a lot of cooking, kind of stuff like that. During COVID, that's when we really kind of got in. I mean, that's my big fascination. You guys are just kind of forced along into it with my Survivor fascination, so
Golly, dude.
forced into doing that. Still going strong.
I got so tired of hearing Survivor. Like, you would binge seasons. You went through what, 20 seasons in like the span of a couple months?
I still quote this to my kids. So the first day of school, I always do a Kahoot. Like, half of it's like, here's me, and half of it's like, here's our like class norms. Here's like what works in the classroom. And so I always throw in there like Mr. Betty's favorite TV show, and boom, Survivor. I always hide it, but I have a giant flag my brother got me for Christmas that I hang up in my room, so I always hide it. Yeah. And I brag about, like, this is some thing to brag about, but I always brag it to him every day. I'm like, so when I started, this was December 2020. Mm-hmm. At the time, there were 40 seasons, and I cranked out all 40 seasons by August of 21. And so that's like 15 episodes a season, like hour and a half episodes, and we just cranked them out.
I'd go to bed and I'd just be like, I'd go to bed at 9, and another 3 hours of Survivor episodes.
It's addicting stuff, man. It's addicting
I would
stuff.
come out like to get water, like just midnight snack, and I'd be like, Betty.
Yeah, man.
Turn the TV off. Go to bed.
No, it was a big fascination, yeah.
Do you remember when we pulled that prank on Ben with the siren?
Dude, that popped up in my memories not too long ago. Yeah. Was that
laughed so
that was my
hard.
ex-girlfriend. She had one of them. It's not a rape whistle, it's like a rape
It's
alarm.
like the siren, you pull it and it won't go off or anything.
Until you put the key back. It's like a reverse grenade, kind of.
Yeah. And it's just... it's a product designed to draw attention to people who are being victims of crime.
Yeah.
At that point.
We threw it under the bed. And he's like, dude, what is that? What is that? Like, you guys did something right. It's your room. Like, we don't know what it is. You
Ben,
guys
what's your deal? Turn it off. Like, we're gaslighting him into believing that this is his fault.
Yeah.
And he's freaking out, getting super pissed off.
And that popped up in my memories not too long ago. Yeah.
Yeah. One of my other favorite memories was you and Ben had said, and Riley had said, oh, we're going to go out and we're going to go we're going to go do this. And I was like, cool, I'm going to stay home. Like, I was kind of depressed at that point in time.
We all were.
I was very depressed.
We all were.
But y'all were going out to do something. I was like, I'm staying home. And I took a nap because at 4 p.m., in the middle of winter, that's
Makes
what
sense.
you did.
Yeah, makes sense,
and I woke up at like 7 because I assumed y'all were going to be out, you know,
Yeah.
and it's dark and I just hear voices coming from your room. And I was like, okay. Because we live in Greeley, and there had been crime happening up and down that road, like that street.
All across town.
Yeah, all across town. But like people got shot like up the street from us on Halloween, you know, like it was bad. So I was like, I ain't going to be a victim. And so I just grabbed my shotgun and I shot Betty a text real quick. I was like, hey, bro, just a heads up. I heard some voices in your room. I think they came through the window, but I'm about to kick it in. And I just racked it with a shell. And like I hear Betty from the other side of the room. Hey, no, it's us. It's me.
I do remember that.
I'm like in my underwear. I was like, Betty, I just woke up.
You came out rocking the long john socks, underwear, and scaring the crap out of my ex-girlfriend. Yeah, I remember that.
I was like, Betty, look, y'all said y'all were going to be gone. And I woke up to voices in the other room. I was like, I ain't playing this game. Because we have a large homeless population in Greeley.
We do, yeah.
So I would assume like they see the window unit in your room. They're like, okay, I'll just jimmy the window up and hop in.
My window was so easy to be broken into. Wasn't it funny? Yeah.
Yeah, I was always. So I just saw it and I just heard it and I was like, all right, cool. Well, I'm going out on my shield.
I forgot about that. That's funny. Yeah. I mean, that was one of the nice things listening to you. I'm like, well, if anything happens, Brooks is going to cover it. We'll be good.
You will be safe.
We'll
Make
be
no mistake.
Yeah.
Yeah. Golly, that's funny, man.
God, I forgot about that.
No, yeah, we had some good times living together. That was good. What was the when you were playing ball? Do you ever have a moment where you're like, this is where I got like this is the hardest I've ever been hit? I got anything like that. Any stories come to mind?
Yeah, I mean, kind of something that comes to mind. I think it was my last year when I was fighting for the starting job.
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like this is something you can appropriately talk about with other football guys, but like somebody like my girlfriend who works in like concussion specialists, you can't really joke about it with them.
Yeah, it's not funny there.
But there was a period where 9-on-7, which me, I'm getting all happy as can be, all giddy as can be, right there, licking my chops. That's just it's coming downhill running, and I would not knock myself out every play. But
just head to head, large.
Not fade out, not blackout. It was like a green out. Like everything went green.
Yep.
Like every other play would do that. I'm like, I
see,
can't,
my color's blue, but I'm with you.
Yeah, but like I'm like I can't. And who knows? Maybe there's some science behind that there. Maybe that means we're left brain, right brain. I don't know what it means. Whatever. I don't know.
Yeah.
But that was mine right there. Like
something's knocked loose is what that means.
I got to get that. That was always the moment with it there, and that comes to mind when we played. I don't know about you, but the only time I've ever been to Pocatello when we played Idaho State, I don't know how many times you went there. Was it just one?
Yeah, it was just one.
Yeah, okay. So the one time
that was actually the game I got hit, like knocked silly every play.
I got a little knocked out there too. Yeah. So we ended up winning that one. One of our only 2 wins that year.
Yep. I told that story on the Glenn podcast.
We were backed up late in the game on our deep in our own red zone, whatever yardage it was, and they put me in there, which I wasn't known for an every down guy or played too much, but it was hey, this guy ain't afraid to hit, so let's put him in the game.
Put him in.
And so we
let's see what the kid has.
Wham, counter, whatever it was, and I think it was 3 plays in a row. We got like 30 or 40 yards out of it in the same 3 plays. Just wham, wham, wham.
Yep.
And I'm pretty damn sure I concussed myself.
Yep.
Because I was just boom, I'm loving it. I'm like, hey, I'm getting some playing time. Let's keep getting after it.
Let's keep going.
I'm hitting it. I remember then finally they switched it up. Okay, hey, we're back to midfield. Like, let's get into our regular personnel. So I get out there. I remember June, he's just kind of looking at me eyeing me down the sideline there, and I'm kind of trying to do the whole I'm leaning back a little bit. Like I grab Connor's. I'm like, dude, like cover me. What? Yeah.
Yep.
Like, I'm pretty sure I'm concussed. Like, just cover me. Make sure he's looking at me right now.
Yeah.
And I definitely I did some other things the next day on Sunday.
Maybe aren't conducive to healing a concussion.
Yeah, well, no, it was Sunday, so I was appropriate with it there. Nothing under the influence or anything crazy there, but some stuff I was doing there, very regular, normal stuff.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm like, what is up with me? And then dawned on me, I'm like, oh my God, I think I'm
concussed.
I think I'm showing concussion protocols right now, and so I had to go about that. But that was kind of a big little, a few kind of knocked out moments there. Those are moments. I mean, Hell, I was a fullback, man. So
that's just what you do.
All I did was just get hit. So that was just a normal other one right there. You know, I don't. Hopefully I'm not remember. You know, it's just not. I don't want to remember it. I don't think I ever got just straight up put on my ass. But
I got you.
You know, those moments just kind of wash and blend in there. But those are a few that kind of come to mind right there. Yeah.
I had a moment with Jeremy Sadler actually the week after the Idaho State game when we were doing all those practices in the snow. And by the way, Idaho State had a very similar game plan to us when all they did was peel back blocks and smoke people.
Yep.
And all my job was to do was spill.
Yep.
And so I was spilling, and then Luke Nelson was coming spilling behind us. I actually told this story on the Glenn podcast, but both of us threw up side by side after the game, and then we both go back home and we got drunk and we fell asleep for 18 hours.
That's was the way to do it. That's the best recovery method.
That's just how we
did.
Right? That's the recovery
method. Yeah.
Yeah. But the week after that game, I was, as I said, my job's to spill, and we ran a pull, some kind of counter with Germ. Germ was playing left guard and pulled.
Okay.
Yeah, and I'm on the right side, or I'm on the defensive left side, offensive right side, and he's playing left guard, and he pulls, and I'd say this to Germ to this day. Germ didn't get a lot of momentum usually, so he's not too hard to spill, and usually all I would do is just take him on head on. That's just what I did. I love Germ to death. He was a great offensive guard. He was a great lineman, but I didn't usually have the hardest time standing him up or spilling him.
Yeah.
But this time was different because Jeremy had pulled, and I'm I'm just going to hit him in the face like I usually do,
Yeah.
And Jeremy had tripped. So for the record,
Jeremy
is about 350, 360 pounds, and he had tripped to where he's falling forward much faster because his feet aren't his feet are going with him, so he's just moving. And I hit him, and I just boom, and I stumbled back 4 yards, fell on my butt, and was just getting crapped on by the rest of the team. It just
understandable there.
I heard the bells and whistles. I heard everything. And I was like, Jeremy, that was the hardest I've ever been hit in my entire life. I think he knocked glaucoma into me. He hit me that hard. But
yeah.
But that was my moment. That was my biggest moment of this is the hardest I've ever been.
And we got a lot of them there. I think we all have.
We
big
played
heads.
physical positions.
I will. This crossed my mind. It's not a my bill got wrong, but a you got moment was. I learned what a push pull was. Fall camp my freshman year.
Who taught you that one?
Kiefer Morris.
I knew it was Kiefer.
Kiefer Morris, yeah. And so as a coach now, I stress my guys on this. I'm like, guys, you should be thanking me. I'm teaching you this now in high school so you don't get painfully introduced to what this is in college. Yeah, with getting your hips on yourself right there.
Nothing more embarrassing than that either.
Yeah, because you feel like you're dominating guy. You get your butts.
And then
your hips are out of it. Yeah, your hips are so out wide. You're way out wide with there. I like to say it now. I always like to say it's you got olayed is what I like to call it.
100%.
Olayed because you're dominating them and then they just swoosh you down right there. You got olayed with it there. So that was another big you got moment that took me a while to learn. Okay, here's how I don't get got in the push pull moment here.
Yeah. That's a good one too.
Yeah,
absolutely. I got one because both of us played this position in college. What is the worst position to play in football, and why is it Why is it field goal, tight end, and up back on KOR?
Okay. I got to disagree with you on the field goal one because I like that one.
Well, here's let me explain to you.
I think I know where you're going with
because
this.
I heard this on the Kelsey podcast, but like you and I both played this position.
Yeah.
Right. So your only job, the only thing you can do, you have to lock knees with the tackle, lock knees with the wing back, and you have to put both arms out to these 300 pounds of dude that are coming down your face. Pause. And then like the only coaching you ever get is die a slow death. Like you just have to make sure you last long enough for them to not get there. That is the worst position. And the second worst is up back on field goal when the guy you have to block, you can back up 10 yards and then go meet him. But the guy you have to block gets a 50-yard sprinting head start and you have to go hit him.
See,
Those are the two
field goal or KOR?
That one's KOR. Field goal was the other one.
Yeah.
That one's KOR. So you're backing up. You got to back up 10 yards. And then you turn around and K3's coming down and you're just like, all right, well, I got to go hit you, but you've already built up to a 4-3 sprint.
Yeah.
Here we go.
See, I always hate the KOR one, but the field goal I like. So I was never the tight end. I was always the wing.
Oh, well, never mind. Yeah, you don't know what it's like.
Well, and so I always felt bad because I was always on the left-hand side, in which my right knee still to this day has a torn PCL. So I had to wear that lineman knee brace, right?
Yep.
And so, like as you said, hey, the technique is you're to latch knees.
Yeah.
Well, I'm driving my knee brace into whoever's in front of me right there. So I felt bad for whoever that was like, hey, you know I'm here? Well, you should, because here's the metal brace coming at you here, knocking at the door.
While you're already dealing with 600 pounds of dude in front of you, here's something digging into your femur.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the field goal one, I loved it. I loved being out there because then, Ben was out there. I'd always do it good, or sometimes I would do the press.
You were on one side, and then Golden was on the other. So it was me and Golden.
Yeah.
Who did you usually line up with? Was it Ergy? No, he was a tackle.
I forget. But all I know is our game plan was they always came away from me.
Yeah.
So I would.
Well, that's why you had it easy.
So I was the defensive spill guy. Yeah. So you know how like on field goal block, there's like a scooper.
Yep.
So I would always, kick and then spin out to make sure it would never.
Yeah.
If it was blocked, spill, I was there. So that was easy. But
they always brought it to me in Golden side.
The KOR. Oh God, 100%. That was it doesn't matter. Like it didn't matter how you do it up. I will say this though. Because that was during when we were playing, in which the what do they call it? The shield became illegal. Is that what they call it? The wedge.
The wedge.
The wedge.
No, the wedge buster. No, yeah.
The wedge became illegal, which I love that. And then now it's like
where they lock arms and just yell,
go! Because there's a dude like me, I love that. Because then you get a guy like me who, hey, look, because it's basically asking a guy like you and me, like, to go DB mode right here, right? And just shot the feet and react with it.
Yeah,
I can't do that. As I just said, I'm in a knee brace. I can't do that. I can't cut this direction. I can only cut one direction here. So it was a little tough one there. And that was just you know what? I'm hoping I just throw you enough out of your lane to where it works.
Dude, I hated KOR so much because I always, for some reason, so you and I both played it, and there were times where I was like, Betty, please go in for me. Like, figure this out, like, because I'm so tired and stuff. And there was one time we were playing Washington State.
Oh, Wazoo,
Wazoo, that was a good game. And
they were some athletes.
That's the difference between an a FCS program that isn't used to winning and a top-tier Pac-12.
Because when we played Wazoo on KOR, it wasn't like their All-American wideout coming down to make the tackle. It was a backup linebacker who was just as fast and who wasn't afraid to lay the wood with it there.
Well, that's my point. I had to block a guy I looked him up after the game because I was like, wow, that hurt. And I looked at his number 44. He had a neck roll, and I was like, surely a Mike. And he said, no, he was a defensive end and fullback.
Yep.
And he was 260 pounds.
I
was
exactly
proud.
Who you're talking
who I'm talking about. He had like the boss cut almost. Yep. I was proud because one time I caught him. I caught him hard and I pancaked him and I got up. I was like, yeah! And then the next one he came twice as hard and he hit me really hard. And but he didn't make the tackle. But yeah, that was when I was like, Betty, I don't want to do this anymore. Like this is the worst position in football, besides obviously field goal kick. But no, dude, I hated both of those special teams so much. I liked being the shield on punt, and I was actually our backup punter at one point. Like
I do remember that.
You remember that? But I was on the shield, and that was fine. And then everything else just kind of. I did not care for special teams. I gotta be honest with you. I did not care for special teams.
Yeah.
Oh man, but I wanted to get your take on that because that was miserable.
Yeah. No, I
didn't have fun.
It sounded like we were pretty similar there with most of it there. So yeah,
I did not have a lot of fun doing that. What is your favorite story from college ball?
Oh God, I mean, like the puke day. That's always one that comes to mind with it there. And
then after this, I got a long story question.
Okay, sure.
That's going to be long for you.
You know, this is funny because this is a question story. I always, people ask me or I tell them, and like I think I said earlier, it's never the like, yeah, it was this game we won, or this max. It was those like just crap moments.
Yeah.
That, that's what I always I wouldn't say it's my favorite, but it's a favorable in the sense of I can't forget it.
Right.
Kind of stuff like that. I mean, we talked about Wazoo. I felt like when we went into the Pullman, I just kept looking up and up and up, and I felt like the bleachers in the stadium just kept going all the way forever until my head went around. I mean, you said it too.
And they're not even that big of a stadium either.
Yeah,
this was crazy.
And Mike Leach too. I did the whole like, oh my God, that's Mike Leach.
Dude, I grew up a Tech fan.
Yeah.
So I'm watching. Yeah. I grew up watching Mike Leach.
Yeah,
and I'm like,
Collins went over there to shake his hand. I'm like, I want to go over there and shake his hand.
Oh my God,
it's freaking Mike Leach, man. Like, this dude's living legend.
One of the greatest coaches of all
time.
Yeah,
I did dap him up. I high fived him at the Mississippi State game.
I gave him nucks at the. I gave him nucks at the Wazoo game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that was,
dude, rest in peace. That guy's awesome.
He was,
so sad
great dude
when he
there.
Passed. Yeah.
But I mean, that was kind of cool there. I mean, yeah. For as unfortunate as it may sound, my favorite ones aren't like good favorites. They're just favorable in the sense that I can't unforget them.
Right.
So it's kind of some like kind of downer ones, kind of stuff like that. But at the same time, I loved it, and the stuff I don't do anymore, I don't get up at 6 a.m. and puke my guts out with my coworkers, so
that's true.
Stuff like that there. But I mean, I don't, for as probably unfortunate and lame as an answer as it is, that's probably my most favorite.
Those
stuff
are your
like
favorite
that.
ones.
Can't really pinpoint it, but
that's
just ideas of like that. Yeah.
Walk me through your whole football career. Like, where did you start, and then versus obviously I know where you ended, but I'd like to people for
sure. Yeah, no, appreciate you asking that. So at the time, I moved a lot as a kid, and so I lived in Missouri at the time, which you had to be, I think, in middle school to do tackle. So at the time, I did flag.
Nice.
And flag, you can get pretty creative with the rules, and so.
How old were you?
Third grade, maybe second, third grade.
Yeah.
And we called it. I don't know why. I still remember we called it our bread and butter play.
Okay.
So like it's the old the coach is there, 10 yards behind the line of scrimmage. Here's what we're running. Right, break.
Yep. I remember those days. Yeah. We did those too.
Bread and butter, ready, break. And I was center at the time, so I would snap it and then go 10 yards and just throw right there and catch it there. So growing up, I was always like a lineman, but never a big lineman. But hey, he's too small to lineman. But he's kind of a little chunker to be anywhere else.
Yeah, he's too lineman to be a skill, but too skilled to be a lineman.
And so when we moved to Colorado, third, fourth grade, whatever it was, I was just a lineman. The patch kid.
Yep.
I had the patches there. Could go both ways, whatever, with it there.
Yep.
And so in middle school, I was on a feeder team to a rival high school, which I ended up going there, which forget them. Don't like them anyways. But I started as a center, way back when to that flag football days, and worked my way to guard and tackle. So I'm on this feeder team in middle school. I'm at tackle. We call the old, I think we call it elephants on parade, in favor of Andy Reid.
Yep.
Yep. So I'm a tackle, and we call fullback screen.
Yeah.
And so, we're running it. I'm doing the normal, I'm rolling out there, screen block, and our quarterback throws it, and I'm looking at it. I'm seeing it's kind of overthrown. I do a double take, and I catch it, and catch it, and I go upfield, get the first down, whatever, with it there. They go and set the ball on the other side. It's like, hey, he was lined up at tackle. He can't do that. No, it's fine. He's a patch kid, whatever. There, our coach calls timeout, and our coach comes over and he goes, hey, man, what you did was incredibly illegal. Yes, sir. Don't do that ever again. Yes, sir. Okay.
Good talk. Yeah. Great job getting the first.
Yeah. And so I guess that is what kind of sparked the idea of hey, let's try getting this kid the ball a little more. And so that's when I kind of became more no, let's move him out to tight end. And then once a game, they'd run me on at the time I didn't even know what the hell the difference between a left and a right guard was, so what I'm only assuming was a post or a corner route or a seam or something at the time I'm running. A deep low completion and get it there. Only a catch or two a game.
Yeah.
And my dad did a terrific job at the time because every night after practice, he's like, "Hey, throw your shoulder pads back on. Nope, you don't need a helmet." And we'd be 10 yards away, just straight up, catching it right here. Okay, running out. I wouldn't say running because I was in my Crocs or whatever.
Right, you weren't exactly working super hard.
Out to the right, out to the left. Okay, turn around, back shoulder there because he made damn sure hey, if they're going to throw you the ball, you catch everything that's come your way.
100%.
And so I kind of started interior and I worked my way out, farther and farther outside of the ball as the line went on. And so ended middle school, as a tackle, tight end, not really there. And then going into high school, the feeder team I was on, we all kind of split off into like 3 schools. If you were worth a damn, you either went to Broomfield where I went or this other school. That's where all the good kids went. And then the team we were actually supposed to feed into, you didn't really play. They were kind of a mediocre kids. And so I kind of went in there, which to my benefit, like, hey, yeah, we've kind of heard about you. You're pretty good.
Yeah.
And so I kind of got away with it there, like kind of tight end, DN, working with it there. It still upsets my dad to this day that I chose offense over defense because
Defense is way more fun.
He was an inside backer there, and so I did
It's
offense.
only one ball that can go around in offense, but I'm going to tell you right now, anybody can get that tackle.
Yeah, but I mean, it was kind of fun too. We me and the same quarterback were on that feeder team. We went freshman year together, and so him and I were kind of like. It upset the coaches at the time, but we would make audibles, like we'd have like secret codes. Shout out to my dad, like, hey, Jericho, and that was our code for like, run a slant right here. This is wide open. Let's get the sticks moving. So our coach would be like, hey, if you're gonna do that, like let us know, like kind of like so we get it there. So and then my sophomore year moved into the varsity fullback. Kind of a weird situation. I like to say I was a 3-year starter, but truth be told, I didn't start my sophomore year. They had an older guy who they would start the opening drive.
Oh, and then they play you.
And then I would play the rest of the game. Yeah, so that's why I'm like, okay, I'm a 3-year starter. He was more of a defensive favored guy.
Right.
So I did a lot of it there. Was a fullback sophomore year, fullback junior year. Got a new coaching staff my senior year, although I will say was pretty cool. My sophomore year in Broomfield, it's known as the infamous Potato Bowl.
Okay.
We're the 11 seed hosting, somehow it lined up the 3-seeded Montrose, which is like a 6-hour drive over the western slope. Snow game. They brought out the old heaters, those like swim looking jackets that go down to your ankles. And the reason why it's called...
We don't have those in Texas.
Yeah.
If you were wondering, we do not have those in Texas.
And the reason why it's called the Potato Bowl is because that week for team dinner, we had... potatoes. Yeah. And they're like, hey, we have so much extras. Let's use these as hand warmers.
What?
For the game on Saturday.
What?
Yeah, so we had potatoes for hand warmers, and as you probably could have guessed, some of them had bites out of them.
Yeah.
And so that was the first nod because they're like, hey, Betty, young buck, sophomore, we got some injuries here. You're going the full game. No spill, no nothing. It's all you. Attaboy. And we're playing Montrose, who the year before was the state runners-up. And they got some big old beef boys out there in Montrose. And so the all-state D linemen and last series of the game to give us the go-ahead touchdown run, the wham block. I remember pancaking the dude, looking at him. He's like, get off of me. And I'm like, no, I'm owning it.
I'm on you.
And so that gave me a lot of confidence moving forward because I was obviously going to be a big piece moving forward.
Yeah.
Junior year, same things, fullback, got a lot of passes there. I loved it because, you're joking there with the whole, the ball can't go to everybody.
Yeah.
Well, when I got the ball, it was the wham, 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 boot right, throw it to the fullback, get
so
15
you're
yards
not
out
getting
of
covered
it.
because you're like, this guy's just going to come lay the wood.
Yeah. So if you ask
fullback is a very, when it comes to ball carrying only, it's a very little consequence.
Oh, absolutely.
Thing. You're just playing O-line essentially up until it's like, cool, let me just catch this for 20 yards.
Absolutely. Loved it. Still to this day, my favorite play in football is let's run it enough, then boot off of it, dump it right there.
Run a little flood,
And then my senior year, we got a new coach, new coaching system. So they didn't have a fullback, so I was at tight end. Got more touches with the ball, touchdowns, possessions, stuff like that, kind of blocking with it there. Ended up going to state that year, super fun. Team captain that year.
Yep.
So
that was junior or senior year?
That was my senior year. We
Gotcha.
got a new coach, did all that.
Sorry, I just wanted to make sure I was tracking.
There. So it was, like I said, super cool there. Kind of good way to end it there. Always relate a lot of my stories from my senior year to the kids I coach now, kind of relating with it there. Did that, and then got on the recruiting process to UNC. Had already been on a game visit that year. North Dakota, because the old Fightin' Sioux reference became mentioned by Grable at that game.
I hated North Dakota. I hated playing that.
But, and then, got on a official visit, did that, and and then obviously met you there. And I will say this, I don't know if I've ever shared this with you. So I think the first time we did meet was when we were reporting into Hanson Willis.
Yep.
Whatever, shortly after the 4th, whatever it was.
Yeah.
And I remember you, we had just the coaches were talking, whenever you were in there and you were talking there. And I remember looking around, after seeing you looking around, I'm like, I was under the impression we were all freshmen. What's this JUCO kid doing here?
I just look old as hell.
Yeah.
I looked
Right
old
off
as
the
hell
bat.
forever.
Right off the bat, yeah.
You did not tell me
And then,
that.
yeah. And then,
You probably thought I looked like Stelzner.
yeah, something like that, yeah. But yeah, so that's kind of the story of kind of football for me, how it came to it. And then
Betty. I love it.
I wouldn't, unfortunately, I would say toughed out 5 years at UNC, and I'm now continuing the football passion of coaching at Windsor High School.
Which is good. I mean, the thing is, you are a natural, like, you are an influential person, especially when it comes to younger people. And I'm something I noticed, because I remember I used to give you a little grief back in when we were living together of like you going to be a teacher and stuff. I gave you a little bit of grief in good faith,
And
of
that's
course.
very normal. That's very normal.
Out of love, of course. But I look at it now, I'm like, we do need people like Betty, like actually shaping minds of youth so that we have a little more hope. Because I feel like teachers. So my sister was an English teacher for a long time. She just recently transferred over to a different career. I don't know why I said transferred. I'm stuck in football mode right now. But she's moved on to a different career. She now is a writer for Blaze TV.
Okay.
And she does a lot of journalism, and that's cool. But the thing that it just kept being, and it may not be the case quite as much with something like math, because math is pretty like objective of this is the way to do it. This is the only answer you can get, etc.
Yeah.
Right. English is a lot different of now you're being fed certain books you have to read, certain lesson plans, certain lessons you have to teach to be able to say, kind of promoting an agenda that you may not believe in, And so that's kind of the boat she got into. And so I'm glad to know that there are still teachers who are because I don't think it's anybody's job to teach anybody what to think. It's just how to think, and how to do things and how to overcome adversity and how to, deal with life, because life is difficult. And I don't think a lot of that is too prominent nowadays. So I am glad that you're coaching and that you're teaching.
Appreciate that, man.
We need more Garrett Bettys.
I appreciate
that.
that.
I want you to know that.
I appreciate that. Well, it's definitely, a joked about profession, and I'm not going to lie and say I don't joke about it myself.
You have to.
I mean, to this day, so many people I run into from college, Betty, hey man, what are you up to now? I'm a high school math teacher. No, like really, what are you doing?
Yeah.
Like, no, come on.
That's the worst, dude.
Yeah.
People are so mean, and I'm not trying to be that way at all. Like, it's a super important profession. Like, you're in charge of, like, a certain percentage of what the next next generation is, And as we've seen, a lot of teachers have not done a very good job.
No,
It just keeps getting worse, and a lot of parents haven't done a good job. Obviously, you can't just blame teachers, But it's cool to see that you're pursuing this passion and continuing on. And I'm glad, because I know for a while you were kind of, I don't know if I can share this, and if you want me to cut it out, absolutely. Yeah. But I know for a while you were pretty. I don't want anything to do with football anymore. You were just at a spot, and reasonably so. It is hard to play football at UNC, and it's hard to.
It's hard to play football at second level. Blank,
yeah, and then especially when you're not winning a lot of games, you're not getting the credit you deserve, and you're not getting, the attention and all of these things. Like, it's just Greeley's a rough place to make hay. It's a tough place to go, and so I know that football may not have ended exactly how you wanted it to, but I was glad to hear you started coaching again, because it's the best sport in the world.
Yeah. Dude. Oh, absolutely.
And it brings people so close together.
No, I appreciate that. And I know I'd shared with you, that was the same way with our head coach, because when I applied there at the school, I guess story of that, I was, so I graduated college December of 21.
Yeah.
And so no school starts in January.
Yeah.
So I was like, I'll go be a substitute teacher.
Yeah.
And so I was teaching at the other high school here, Severance, and they had some math openings, so applied for that. I get a call Friday morning. At the time, I was the throwers coach for track. Get a call that morning from our athletic director. Like, hey man, we're gonna go with 2 other people in front of you. Devastated. I'm supposed to go to track meet that day. I call my mom. I'm like laying in bed, like I got broken up, like because my mom's a teacher.
I feel that though, dude. I get you.
Because my mom's a teacher, so I'm like, Mom, I didn't get the job. I don't know what to do, and so she's mad for me, and I'm like, damn it, like I'm here for the kids. Let's do it for the kids. So I go to the track meet and run into Windsor's head football coach, math teacher, also their throws coach about a job. Like, hey man, we got nobody. You think you'd be interested for it? Like, yeah, I'll apply for it. He goes, yeah, and you can also be a football coach for us. Like, nope. No way in hell am I coaching football. Ed McCaffrey ruined so much for me. I'm done. And so he, as soon as I got the job, invited me golfing with himself, our offensive coordinator, defensive coordinator. And at the time, I was still bleeding blue for Broomfield.
Yep.
You know, like, yeah, hey, I may have gotten the job. Like, I'm not like anything in the past. I've been Broomfield associated, you know, and so I let them know, like, yeah, hey guys, I just want you to know from this point moving forward, I'm Windsor.
Yeah.
But at this point in time, I whooped y'all asses then. I beat y'all out. You know, like kind of all that, letting them know. And you know, that was his biggest thing. You know, coach football. You know, I'm like, no, man, like I hated it. Like I want to enjoy football. I want to go travel, go to all this. And so he was kind of nice. He kind of respectfully forced me into it, you know, with coaching freshmen.
Coerced,
yeah, sure. A good way to put it there, you know, getting into it, you know, and so it's a good way to be a part of it there, you know, and because, you know, at the end of the day, I don't think I would be who I am if I didn't play at UNC, you know, so many life lessons, you know, and that, you know, a lot of me, like, I'm glad I learned, but at the same time, I'm a little mad that I learned as late in life as I did. You know, why not share this information earlier with kids earlier in life?
But at the same time, you're 25.
Yeah.
You know, or 25, right? 26 in a couple months.
Whatever
we are now. I think you stopped keeping track after like 20, you know, after you get done with college.
Honestly, I can never remember how old I am. Yeah. I'm always 1 year older than the year. So when people ask me, how old are you? I always go, what year is it? And I always add one on to it.
Yeah.
But yeah, so just another way to kind of getting into the love of it and sharing it there.
Yeah. Once you finished football, did you have a moment? So I had what I called like an athletic midlife crisis, where you get done with everything and now you're like, okay, my schedule's opened up a lot. Now, granted, you teach a lot, so obviously that's pretty busy, but you got to find ways to fill the time. And so what I did was I took up hunting, I took up woodworking, I
remember
took up
that,
like a lot of just random stuff that I was like, I just always wanted to do this. I read a lot more. I'm trying to get into some more stuff, Olympic style lifting, like all this stuff.
Yeah.
What was that for you? Because everybody I've talked to has had something
different. Yeah. So I guess, I mean, for as kind of boring as an answer as it is, when playing, what I did in my free time when I wasn't football, film, schoolwork, tutoring, etc., I was sitting down on the couch watching Survivor or whatever movie or show it was, because I stand to this. If you were to put me to anybody else, I'm probably the biggest movie quoter there is out there. So,
I know.
So I kind of know it all there. And still to this day, I find stuff to keep me busy. And so that's just kind of my easy, like, no, I just do this. Truth be told, when I got finished with high school or with playing college, I was like, I'm not lifting. I don't care about putting up this numbers ever again. I don't care about ever front squatting, cleaning, you know, this, that, whatever again. But at the same time, I was single. I was like, well, I need to look good for ladies, so I still need to work out. So then that's when so then I'm like, okay.
You got to take care of yourself.
Something, yeah. So I was like, yeah, I'll run a little bit, do some core, not really lifting with it there. But I mean, the biggest thing for me was just kind of getting my career going with. I guess at the time when I finished, like I said, that was like the fall of 21. So that spring I was substitute teacher by day, and by night I was actually a bar promoter in Greeley. Nice. My grandma always likes to joke with it because my mom told my grandma, and so anytime I come home, my grandma would always be like, how are you doing studying for your bar exam? You know, like
that's pretty funny.
She knew what I was doing.
I was gonna say, if she actually thought you were a lawyer, that's tough.
But she knew, so just, you know, kind of find jobs to keep me busy with it there. I guess the biggest thing for me just to keep me occupied was just, you know, I don't even say occupied, just, wow, I have all this free time. I'm going to do nothing and just sit down and do it there,
That's
you know, and then,
thing.
you know, and then little side jobs here and there, like officiating for money or plasma for money here and there, but nothing super hobby.
That's all right, dude. I picked up 7. Hope gets mad at me all the time. She's like, how about one at a time? I'm like, no, I just want to do everything.
And from even now to this day, like, I guess you could say my biggest hobby is, for as fortunate as it sounds, I just sit my little happy butt there on the couch and watch whatever.
That's okay, dude.
Because
relaxing's all right.
A normal day for me with coaching is 7 to 7.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I get home, I want an hour to eat, 100%. Then I'll do some schoolwork.
Yeah.
If I go to bed on time, then I do that, and if not, then I'm watching the football game.
Yeah.
Or
doing something.
There.
Yeah, I get you, and that's good.
Yeah.
Like, there's nothing wrong with that at all. I was just wondering if, because everybody I've talked to has had something else. Like, Grant Stevens went on this big fitness journey. Glenn Bernard started, like, he really enjoys reupholstering stuff. Like, just random stuff. Like, you just, all of a sudden you have so much time and you're like, all right, I'm going to start trying this, you know?
Yeah.
Like, I think everybody needs, and the thing that's different is you found a work that you're passionate about on top of that. I'm passionate about what I do, but I don't know that it's something that is so fulfilling to me that I can take that as everything, you know? So I kind of got to supplement stuff here and there. It's kind of like when you don't have the perfect diet, so you got to take some pills with it. You know what I mean? Like, that's kind of what it is to me.
I guess I did develop this. So have this like internal fear of me that, hey, I played fullback and I beat my head a lot.
Yeah.
And I'm scared to death being a math teacher that I'm going to be up there on the board and go,
wait, what's this formula?
I don't know. I don't know how to solve this. So I guess it's kind of like a little internal fear of CTE or something kicking in. So I've gone through little phases of like kind of math focused games or puzzles like Sudoku. I've debunked Sudoku. Like whenever I'm on a plane, I go through that and I do my little thing for it there. So, you know, that or solitaire, something to kind of like mentally challenge me.
Well, the brain's a muscle.
Yeah.
And everybody forgets that. Like,
so, yeah. So I guess you could say I do that mental workout, you know, finding puzzles there or whatever to keep me busy and occupied with it there.
That's what like kills retired people. This sounds so bad. So there's some kind of statistic that a significant percentage of men pass within 8 years of retiring.
Yeah,
right?
I've heard that,
And I think one of the big reasons is you run out of purpose and you stop exercising physically and mentally, right? So you stop challenging yourself and therefore you continue on to you just start to decline so bad that you look up and it's too late, you know? So doing the mental stuff super important, taking care of your body super important, like finding stuff that you enjoy to carry you on is super important.
Yeah,
so that's
absolutely.
good. That's really good. I know you used to be kind of a big hunter. Do you do any hunting with your dad as much lately, or not as much?
Not too
and
much.
Would you like to? Because now I'm up here.
Yeah, no, definitely.
Let's go.
So, absolutely, yeah. No, I like the sound of that. So I grew up big game hunting. You know, deer, elk, pronghorn, all that. Yeah. It wasn't until college where those random. I think we either did it twice in 1 year or back to back 2 different years where we did waterfowl.
Yeah. Those are fun.
I just sucked because my whole life, you know, I'm big game where you're stationary, you're shooting it, you know?
Yeah.
And so I remember kind of a proud moment right here. Not really. I wasted an entire round of shells. We went duck hunting.
Yeah.
I think I whacked 6 of them.
Yeah.
Just because I'm used to boom. Yeah. You know, and not to follow through with it there.
Oh, I know. I was the same way when I started, and I'm still not that great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But so the last time we went this time last year for Thanksgiving, elk hunting, late season. That's when we like to go. No snow, so we couldn't really track or see nothing there. It was kind of an interesting trip. It's always tough when you go and do it because you don't get anything, you know, whether you don't get anything or any signs of anything, aren't even a shot off there. It's tough because I know my dad always wants to do it, but I'm like, hey, I kind of really like coaching and being involved with it. And, you know, at the end of the day with high school sports,
it's hard to find time for
like,
this.
hey, I would love to be doing this till the first week of December because that's how long the season goes. But I do want to get more into waterfowl because I feel like that's a very easy, you don't need to go too far, plan a trip. You know, it's easy. Like, hey, let's get up super early this morning. You know, let's go and
lower
spend the
risk,
day
lower
on
reward
it.
is what it is. Yeah. And it's really fun. And it's actually pretty good waterfowl hunting up here. Like duck hunting. So we need to go.
Absolutely. I'm down
That's
for that.
my favorite way. Like, so this is a funny story. Grant Hudgens, when he listens to this, will appreciate this. You're familiar with how chokes work in a shotgun, right? And how there's a bunch of different ones for different patterns and stuff. So me and Grant is the guy who got me into duck hunting, and I'm still fairly new. You know, I'm still kind of a novice of it, but I bought this Stoeger M3500. It's a good semi-automatic shotgun. You know, it's good for shooting 3-inch shells and 3.5. You know, and it's a good hunting shotgun. And Grant and I went out hunting, and we'd been hunting like 2-3 years at this point. You know, when I bought this shotgun, like I'd hunted 3 seasons with this gun. And we're just randomly, and we just can't hit the broadside of a barn door. But every year I'm good for one shot that I had no business making. It's like 40, 50 yards away. I'm not exaggerating when I say 1 year I hit one at 50 yards, which is a far shot for a duck, by the way. I hit a green wing tail at 50 yards, and the lake was a little bit frozen over, so it hits this ice patch on the lake and slides another 20. So it's like, well, that sucks because we don't have a dog, and I got to go get this thing. And then the other one, last year, we were hunting. And I know how chokes work, by the way, but I'll just share this with you in a sec. And I hit this ringneck duck that was flying, and it's about 50 yards flying away from us. And I pop it, and it goes down, and it floats back to us because it just takes forever. So it's a good shot. And we're just sitting there chilling. And, you know, the pattern has been, the flight pattern's been horrible that day. And so there's a little lull. And we're all just, you know, kind of examining our equipment and taking our shot. And Grant randomly asked, like, hey, what chokes is everybody using? And he's like, I got a modified. His brother Pierce is like, I got a full choke, and I'm looking at mine. because I thought I had a goose choke on there, and I've been hunting like this for 3 years. And I said, "Hey, what's T mean?" He said, and Grant just leans in. He's like, "Do you mean to tell me you've been hunting with a turkey choke for the last 3 years?" Because for those who don't know, a turkey choke gives you the tiniest. It's like hunting birds with a 30-06.
Yep.
Because I will hit a shot I have no business making 40 yards, 50 yards away, and I will miss one at 5.
That makes sense.
And it just drove me up the wall. And Grant's like, "You're a good shot. How do you keep missing these 5-yard shots, these 10-yard shots?"
That makes sense.
And then he figured it out, and he's like, "I hate you so much. Do you know how many birds we've missed probably because of this?" But yeah, that was I told you I'm still a novice when it comes to this hunt, like with the bird hunting, but it is fun, dude. We have a ball.
I believe it.
Yeah, but
hopefully we're adjusted and acquainted from there. Yeah.
Oh no, yeah, I got the right choke in and
Okay,
everything. We're
good,
good,
yeah,
dude. Yeah, we're good. And then turkey season's coming up, so you and I can go get out on a turkey if you want.
Yeah, we gotta get. I don't know how much. At least growing up,
There are a
for me,
lot of turkey up here.
we always went out of state when we did. We never did in state.
I don't know why they're great turkey. Like I see turkey driving down 34
It makes me
all
mad.
the time.
I see, so I
Of course,
guess,
you see them there, and then you won't see them in the woods.
So I guess I have a vendetta with turkeys because I've only went once. I was, I don't know, 6th grade maybe.
Yeah.
And we went to Kansas, I think it was. We went with the turkey doctor, is what my dad and I called him. It's a sales rep or something.
Yeah.
And I'm fairly young. This is my maybe my 2nd or 3rd time ever going.
Yeah.
My first time ever, I went a whitetail down there in Bama, and we got one there.
Nice.
And the guys were went like, "Oh, this is your first time. Oh, you're jinxed. You're not going to get one for a while now." And so it kind of stuck. And so
that's tough.
And so I think we went on this turkey trip, and it was me, my dad, the turkey doctor here, and his kid who had a year or 2 on me.
Yeah.
And I think the dad kind of looked at me and went, "Okay, yeah, clearly we have a newbie here. So hey, Lee, let's have you go on the more.
Yeah.
Let's get you first, then let's try to get the kid here."
Yeah.
And so my dad gets one. He the old easy pull off on the side. Wait a sec, get one there.
Yeah.
And I remember we're defeathering it, whatever you call it,
dressing it
with turkey there. And I'm looking at him like, this is a raptor right here. I just want to. This is a big dinosaur. I just want to chop its head off right here. So I was a little freaked out with it there. And so it was like the last morning or last day we were there. And so we're in this little field, this pasture. And there's just a small enough hill where even if you stand up, like you can't look over it.
Yeah.
And we do this little look up above. Okay, hey, there's 3 of them over there. There's two Jakes and a hen over there. Okay, so here we go. We're gonna come with me. No, Garrett, come on, let's get yours here. We're gonna crawl up top of this hill. No, Lee, you stay back with my son. And so me and him are climbing kind of up on this hill until we can look up, and he's feathering them, waving them in. They're coming up. And so, we get up there with the, about to the top, I'm getting ready to shoot again. This is my 2nd, 3rd hunt. I'm a little kid. I'm still, a little timid. There.
100%.
And I just hear, "Shoot it!" And, and I totally pulled and shake it, and the birds flew away.
Yeah.
And he's like, "Man, that's the closest I've ever been to a live one there." And I'm a little kid mad. I'm like, "Well, you startled me, man.
Yeah.
Like,
what'd you yell for?
You
Just tell me to shoot it."
Yeah, just yell. It wasn't my shot that, it wasn't. Yes, I did miss, and obviously that helped with them fly away. But before I shot, they heard him, and that's what startled them the most. And it startled me and threw me off with it there. So to this day, I have a vendetta. So I'll see them casually here across town, like I-25 or deep in the neighborhood. I'm like, "Oh my God, there's one." I'm gonna pull over on the side of the road, go hunt it down, go track it down with my hands right now.
Smoke it.
Yeah.
That's good, man. It's good. Now that I have more time, and now that I'm living in Colorado, a lot of hunting opportunities here, which is really cool, and I'm excited about it. Like, I can't apply for a hunting license in Colorado for in-state prices for another few months. But once I can, it's open season, dude. I'm gonna be out there. I will get an elk. I will get a mule deer. I will get a turkey. I will get a mountain lion. Me and Jacob said we were talking about a mountain lion hunt here soon.
Dude, those
would be sick.
That scares me. We
oh yeah, you're a little scared of cats. I know.
Oh, I'm scared of death. I say this now, but in face of action, I might act differently.
Yeah.
I firmly believe that if a bear comes at me, I'm standing my ground. Like I will go all grizzly with it. Get up into it. A cat though, I'm.
Well, you won't see the cat coming. That's the scary part.
True. Yeah, I will lose it there. So we went. my junior year in high school, we missed playoffs that year.
Yeah.
And so to my dad, he's like, perfect. Let's go elk hunting. Here we go. So we befriended the ranch owner. We had been going up there and up kind of around Gunnison there and some public land, and befriended the elk or the ranch hand one night. We were coming back to our car. This car comes up. Hey, what are you guys doing? All coming back. You see anything? No. Hey, you want to come back for a drink? Yeah, sure. So we're, talking there or whatever. But before we even went out on that last night's scouting, we're walking. There's not much snow. When you get towards the peak of the mountain, there's some up there, and we're walking. My dad his eyes get all big. He looks down, and we see some tracks, and I don't know how I missed them. Like, what is that, Dad? Coyote tracks? Yeah. It's coyote tracks.
Yeah.
And so,
Didn't want to freak you out, did he?
then so we, the dude like, hey, you guys want to come back for some drinks? Yeah, sure. So we get back there, and we're talking. I have a Sprite or whatever in my hand, and mid drink, and the guy's like, hey, you see any cat tracks? Yeah, we saw some up there.
We did.
That was the mountain lion, like, freaked me out, and my dad's actually, I shouldn't say survived, but he's encountered a cat before.
Yeah.
He was deer hunting out, and we lived in Montana. It was just him. He was bow hunting, and so he scouts him there, and he goes, okay, hey, it's a little flat lined over there. I'm gonna go around over here off to the side where it's some hills, so I'm going around with it there. He's just walking, trying to catch him so he doesn't get winded, and he hears a crack, and he looks over, and then the fork of this tree, I get freaking goosebumps every time.
Yeah.
In the fork of this tree, he sees the cat's paws and heads above the fork of the tree, just looking at him.
Yeah.
And he's looking at it, and he's got a bow.
Yeah.
So he's like, not drawn.
Yeah, but he's got an arrow there, like
kinda,
worst case scenario.
The Paul Blart routine, kind of hand on the hip right there. He's kind of grabbing it, ready to go, just in case he needs to do it. And he sees the cat there, his head's above, and just slowly its head gets below its hands. Yeah. Till you can't see it, and then he hears the ricochet of it. Like it got
just
away.
running off. Yeah.
And I guess goosebumps every time. I'm like,
was he hunting by himself?
Yeah, by
That's
himself.
the scary part.
It was by himself.
You're out there by yourself. Anything can happen.
And so now he always tells me, like, yeah, hey, I'm going scouting this weekend out by the pass. So if anything happens, you come get me. I'm like, okay. And in my mind, I'm like, I don't know where the hell this is. You have so many different passes
places
you
this
call.
could be.
Like, I don't know what this is, but yeah, sure.
Yeah, I'm not finding you.
Yeah, basically. Yeah.
Like, turn your Starlink on because I'm not finding you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Your dad, hey, this was a story I didn't know if we could sneak in here. We're about to have to wrap up because my wife, we've been going about 2 hours, and my wife will be home soon. She's got to get out of here soon. But I did want to say, not that you can't be here while she's here, but like it's just we're about to have to wind down. But he had a run-in. I was wondering if I could work this in organically, but I don't think I can. Your dad had a run-in with the cult at one point on whatever Crossroads or whatever it's called. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Oh, you mean Riverdale Road?
I want to hear this story.
No, so it wasn't my dad.
It's a creepy story. I thought it was your dad.
No, you talking about the haunted road in Colorado?
Yeah, because I think I think it's horse crap. I don't think it's so. I don't think it's an actual haunted road.
It is. So Riverdale Road is like, I forget. It's most of it's in Arvada. I forget what towns it's through.
Yeah.
And I've been there once. It was one of my old high school friends' birthday, so we went there. And it's like you got to turn off from like the paved road to the gravel road. Yeah. So I'm driving at the time.
Oh, this was a you story.
Well, I've been there, and I've had other people been there.
Okay, gotcha.
And this is definitely a place you don't go by yourself.
Yeah.
And so as soon as I turn to the gravel road, my radio does the spinning dials thing. Yeah. And me, I'm such a freaking coward when it comes to stuff like that. I'm already like, no, let's not. And so I'm doing the smart routine where I'm like, hey, I'm not going to be the front of the line. I'm not going to be the back of the line. I'm going to be in the middle.
Right in the middle.
So if anything happens, I
can't be picked off from the back, and I'm not facing the threat at front.
Exactly.
Yeah, I got you.
And so we were out there, kind of touring it because his birthday's around Halloween. I feel like anybody's birthday who's in October, you're just naturally a Halloween enthusiast. Yeah. Everything's scary.
Yeah.
And so ours, I think we ran into like an old carcass or an old burned down building or something. I'm like, okay, let's get out of here. We saw it. Cool. Let's leave.
We're good.
But no, so that, Arvada's pretty close to Broomfield. And so I've had a lot of friends out there. And so one of my old high school classmates, he was out there. And there was one where he's with somebody in the car and he's looking over, he's driving, he looks, talking to the person at shotgun, and he looks over and he sees a silhouette looking just through him. And the through the window there at the driver's side, and they get out of there. There's another time where like the car breaks down, and they're outside, or like they do the same thing as we did. We parked, and they're walking around. And they hear footsteps running out. It's like, get in the car.
Yeah.
And so it's dirt road, so it picks up dirt.
Yeah.
And so they get out there in the clear daylight, and they see handprints all over the car, like people trying to stop the car. And then I had a dude who I was in senior lit with, whose uncle was like a cop or or something like that. He gets a call like, hey, noise complaint out here, something like that. Okay, yeah, whatever. So he goes out there, he parks the car, and he's going through the bushes or whatever. And he sees like lights, or I forget exactly the story, what it is. I'm not gonna lie, I'm such a coward with this. I kind of try to do the, oh my gosh, and then what happened? And then I was like,
tune it out,
whatever.
So you don't have to drink.
Yeah, we were in class and this was happening. So I'm like, oh, what's the lessons plan saying for the day?
Yeah.
And hey, like here's like these screaming and running coming at him. So he like runs and either hides in a bush or falls in a bush or something's laying there. Like here's the dogs, people running by him with it there. Kind of lets it all go by, and he gets back to the car, and the car is just beat up, destroyed.
Golly.
Everything. We have this other, it's called the Sugar Mill in Longmont. Luckily, it's burned down. It's a pretty scary story there.
Luckily.
I won't.
No, go ahead. I want to hear it. Go ahead.
So,
and then we got to go, but like we'll call it there. But yeah, I want to hear the Sugar Mill Longmont story.
I was not the lone coward of my friend group in high school.
Yeah.
And I think I was...
The coward lives, by the way.
Yeah.
In these stories,
the
coward lives.
And so I was at like a football camp or something out of town this weekend, so I wasn't there. And so my other friend, who's normally the coward, he's not really too keen to like, no, guys, we're not doing this. Versus if I'm there, like, no, guys, we're not doing this.
Yeah.
And so since I wasn't there, they did it.
Yep.
And so the Sugar Mill is kind of known as this old burned down Sugar Mill in Longmont where people go and tag it, graffiti it or whatever with it there. And so they go and park the car. It's I think 4 of my buddies, 3 brave-hearted men, one like me, not so much.
And the cowardly lion.
And yeah. The lioness was away, but the lion was there.
Yeah.
And so they didn't come kind of strapped and prepared, and they're like, hey, let's bring weapons with us just in case.
Oh, what'd they bring? Pray tell.
So all they had on them was an iron, like a tire iron, to change the car. So they, walk in there, do whatever with it there. And it's a pretty sketch spot, like, like the floorboards creak everywhere. You're afraid you're going to fall through or whatever. Yeah. And they do a much more phenomenal job telling the story than I ever do. Mm-hmm. But, they get in there, they're walking, a lot of the space is like, oh my God, like you're walking on a board, like you don't know if you're going to fall down like a foot or like 10 feet, whatever with it there. And they're walking through whatever, kind of broken windows, kind of having to shimmy under, everything, stepping under everything. And the one guy, like, it's just like a chill. And he's like, I feel like something's wrong here, guys. Like, I think something's up. Like, no, you're fine.
Is the coward talking?
No, it was a different guy.
Oh, okay.
The coward the whole time is just
holding the tire
like,
iron.
I'm ready for everything or something with it there.
Yeah.
And the one guy's like, no, like, I feel a shiver. And he looks up in the distance, and there's like a window, and he sees a figurette move, and they say they hear the loudest little girl scream ever.
Nope.
And so they run out of there, and then one guy says he looks back, and he sees his shadow move and something coming at him. So they run, they get out of there, right? Mm-hmm. So they're running, they're out, they're in the field, and then the light flashes on them. They hear, freeze! And the one guy's running, like, a crowbar, you got to... Like you're looking like you're attacking somebody, so they freeze. They drop down like, oh my God, like on the ground now.
Yeah.
And so they see it, a cop there with them with the gun out. And
I'd be so relieved. I ain't even gonna lie.
No, well, you think of it, the ones running at a cop like, and so like, drop your weapon. Let me see your guys' IDs. And the one guy's like, oh God, they're gonna get my fake ID, like all this. And they're like, what are you guys doing out here? We're just having some fun. What are you guys seeing there? Like we heard a girl scream. He reaches on his shoulder. Dispatch, I think I found the missing girls. You guys get the hell out of here and never come back.
Oh, yeah, no, that.
And so,
no.
And so they're either in their car or right before they get to their car, they cross paths another car at some point, and these 2 girls are like, what are you guys up to? Like, we just saw a cop. We're like, no, that's a fake cop. Like, have you seen our friend? They're like, yeah, we heard a girl screaming there. That's a fake cop. That don't listen to him. He's a fake cop. And
Oh, what?
yeah, so they were like, oh my gosh, is this some like sex trafficking thing we ran into?
What's
or what
going
right here?
on? Yeah.
So luckily the place is burned down. It was asbestos filled. It was nasty there. Can proudly say I've never stepped foot in there.
It's out of there.
Let the record stand. I am a coward. Will not do any of
Yeah,
this
I'm
stuff.
not out here. I'm a coward and a school teacher, and I'm chilling.
Yeah.
No, that's a good dude. I think I mixed all three of those stories together because I was thinking like, I thought it was your dad that.
Well,
had
and
that
it's
run
tough
in.
too because I'm over here telling stories like I was there and I wasn't there.
Yeah, that's
you know,
all right, dude. That's a horrifying story.
The sugar mill story there, that's always one where like whenever me and my high school buddies are around, you're like, no, tell the sugar mills, tell the story,
Yeah.
tell the story.
Tell the story. What
and
happened?
every time I get goosebumps and you know what's happening too, and every
Yeah.
time it's like, damn, you just told it better than you did the
Yeah, I
last
know.
time.
It's
you
still
know?
scary. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, dude. We need to do another one of these. We're running up on 2 hours. It's about the time. I like to close everyone with a prayer and just pray over you and say, and just, if that's cool with you.
Yeah,
but
sure, yeah.
I want to have you on this again, hopefully in the coming year. Like, just do another one of these and start swapping stories.
Well, I mean,
But hope you've had a good time doing it.
Dude, it's been great. Yeah, I mean, I got a lot of time here. You know, no
I'm
more
here,
coaching
man.
there, but
Let's
yeah.
go.
Yeah.
All right. Dear Father, I just want to thank you for my dear friend Garrett here. Thank you for the memories we have and the memories we share. Thank you for his presence in my life and just what you're doing through his life. Pray that he will just be an impact to the younger generation. Pray that he will be an impact to those in his community and those around him. Pray that you just continue to work on him and fortify him and turn him continually into the man you called him to be. We love you. We thank you for all that you're doing. In your name, amen.
Amen.
All right, brother.
Appreciate you, man.
That was episode 11.